Reading scary Craigslist stories live and memeing too. And creaming. Alright. The tweet has been twat. What shall I do now? Oh, hello everyone. Stupendous to see you here. What brings you here? I didn't expect to see you so soon. Well, since you're here, I might as well slip into something a little more casual. Like Crocs. Crocs with the fucking fabric on the inside. Tree Flesh with the first donut of the night. The $2 says, how's my little princess today? Yeah, he's good. Just shitting and farting and farting and shitting. Waiting for the king. Waiting for my prince to get here so I can feed him a big load of shit. My voice is beautiful, thank you. Thanks. Thanks, avocado. Creamed when I saw the Let's Read notif. Notif. Instant cream. Joel does have the best audience. We've cultivated quite the crew. So I appreciate you guys being here. For anybody who's just getting here, please click that like button. Share this stream out to your social media. It may or may not do absolutely nothing, but hey, it's fun to do. It's fun to feel involved. For the first 20 minutes or so, we're just going to be BSing. You can see the timer on the screen if you want to know when things really do be kicking off. Screaming without the S. How's my day been? It's been good. I actually got my sleep schedule fixed, believe it or not. So I've been feeling very good about life, feeling very productive, feeling not in a rush all the time, you know what I mean? So that's been really good. What's this song? This is actually like one of those lo-fi playlists. This one's called Dakobi, Winter Train, but this is from a playlist from Fear Dog called Snowy Christmas Days. Lo-fi hip-hop, jazz hop, chill hop, study, sleep, relax music. So it's got all of the appropriate searchable tags and SEO to maximize. Haters with the 2 says, how thick can you make a Russian accent sound? Oh, about as thick as you want. What do they say when they say water? They say water or vodka. Yeah, it's vodka. Vodka. Robin, what's up, big dog? And Cashy and Fry. Hola, the new stream overlay is almost done. Oh, shit. I'm excited. Robin, I was going to actually message you because I'm using the Christmas one right now. And I, like, forgot about it. I'm like, oh, shit. Christmas. I forgot about that one, but it's still just as beautiful as it's always been. You'll see that here in a little bit. And thank you, my friend. Hope you're having a lovely night. Hope everyone's doing all right. And kicking tail. You're kicking life right in the ass. You're putting your boot right in life's butthole. Bow. Just shoving it up there. Letting it know I'm in charge. I don't care that I'm careening directly towards ultimate desolation. That doesn't matter to me. What I care about is making the best of it as we go. and leaving it a better place for tomorrow. J Rose with the 179 says, I ran to my bed to be ready, already scared. Yeah, it's kind of an earlier stream too, so I'm like, West Coast is what, 3 p.m., East Coast 6 p.m., but it is dark out. And everywhere else in the world, I don't know what time it is in the rest of the world. It's just chaos out there everywhere else. I only know East Coast time and West Coast time. Everywhere else on planet Earth is just, I don't know if it's like 1850. And from all the shows and stuff I've seen of like the UK, I just assume that they still, you know, have like chimney sweeps or some shit. I'm not even sure. Brian Garrity with the 5 says, still lifting. You know, so I kind of, you know, I told you about my experience with a bit of a disorganized mind that, you know, was making my bodybuilding program very frustrating experience. Mild recap, but you know, I had decided to go to just hire somebody from the gym to write me a program. They do it all the time. They're very dedicated to being there. Figured they would know some stuff, you feel me? And just like one of the most scatterbrained people of all time, it was like I had to call them every day that first week to get the workouts, and then the second week it was like it just gave me the same thing. So but it just felt like really like skipping and like, I don't know, it just seemed lazy and scatterbrained. And then I was like, and then he was, you know, saying that he was just kind of gauging where I was at, so then for the 5 weeks we could get more focused for the next 5 weeks. And then that next 5 weeks came, and I was like, what's the program? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, what am I doing for the next 5 weeks? And he's like, oh, we're just gonna do those exact same movements from the previous 2 weeks, but like for the next 5 weeks. I'm just thinking like, either bodybuilding is like the most monotonous, pointless shit of all time, or this guy's just a big boner head. But anyways, so recently I found somebody more professional to write it up. So they did a diet thing. So I got that. It's gonna be sweet. And then they're just finishing up the workout plan. So hopefully, if I don't get started on that this week, I'll start next week. And let's read in 2022. Going to be looking real thick. Let me tell you about that. Looking real fine. Jester with the 2 says, what's up, Joel? What's up, Jester? Thank you for the 2, my friend. What you think about the wall? Which wall? Like the Pink Floyd wall, or what are you talking about? Letty Ramos with the 5 says, woohoo, thanks for it. You're welcome, Letty. Good to see you again. Thank you for the 5. Did I miss anything? Did I miss anyone here? But hello. We got another 10 minutes of chit-chatting before we kick off stories. But like I said, these are Craigslist stories. We will, we're going to be having a good time. I think these might be primarily documentary in fashion or in style. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll see. The anti-work movement, or is that too political? I don't know. It seems big in the U.S. I don't know, honestly. I really don't know if I can speak on to that. I know that like everywhere I go, around here at least, everything closes early anymore. Everything, you know, there's like not enough people to like hire for shifts and stuff. So that creates, you know, but I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I know that there was economic purposes of that, but exactly like whether or not people are getting financial funding from other locations, I kind of thought that was coming to an end, but I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe people were just, you know, during the pandemic found sort of an overall different energy about how they wanted to approach their working life. Can I scratch my beard? Oh yeah, it's nice and thick for you out there. You got fired from your job. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. I mean, I think at the end of the day, everyone's relatively anti-work, you know. They want to minimize work, you know, just from a sort of an instinctual standpoint. You want to like do as little work as possible with the maximum amount of benefit. But once in a while, I feel like you almost, to get to that point, you need to really like work smarter and like really plan out. Sometimes work really hard to get to where you're at, you know. Like I know transitioning from one job to like YouTube was really hard, you know what I mean? Because it was just like I had to work my full-time job and just like put as much effort as I could into doing YouTube, and it was a real struggle bus for quite a long time. Any tips for growing a better beard? Shit, I don't even know. I remember like my beard was okay. I mean, actually it wasn't good. It's kind of patchy until I hit like 22, and then I like shaved it and then started letting it grow, because I didn't normally let it grow because I always thought it was bad. And then I hit 22 and suddenly my beard started like popping off. And I'm just like, all right. Because I remember my one boss, this really nice lady who ran the nursing home that I worked at, she just, oh, I like the beard. And, you know, she's flirting with me a little bit, so I was just like, all right, I'm gonna let it grow. Haters with the 2 says, 3:23 p.m., doing homework, PS finals destroys mental state. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people going through finals is the worst thing ever. Red Fox has become a member of the Buttersock cult. And a mischievous dog. Welcome, Red Fox. You now have access to bonus content, which, guys, I'm excited to say that December's bonus content will be paranormal stories, so that'll be a thick one for you. I'm excited about that. Got the thumbnail all made up for it, got the stories lined up. Just keep an eye out for it. Green with the 2 says, like the sound says, hey, listen. Oh, it echoes? Does it echo? Wonder why it echoes. Where's the hey listen from? It's from Zelda. I think the Ocarina of Time. Joel likes the cougars. The cougs. I'm a big game hunter. Opinion on pickles. I like pickles. I love pickled juice. I would drink that while I would do my birthday stream where I was drinking and stuff. It just helps replenish a lot of electrolytes that you lose, or I guess like extra, or like ones that leave your cells or something. I don't know, science bullshit. Anyways, I would just take like a shot of, or a sip of pickle juice as I would take a shot of whatever. And it really helped to like minimize hangover. But my one friend was saying if you take like a B complex before you drink, including thiamine, you know, anybody pondering their orb, you know I'd be doing that. I'm always pondering. Anyways, I started pondering. But yeah, if you ponder thiamine or B complex before you drink, and then take it after you drink, and then take it in the morning, supposedly that minimizes like the sort of, or has a very strong like antioxidant effect, that it minimizes the process of like, you can look this up, and I'm not a doctor, by the way, but I just heard about it. I haven't really tried it either, but I just heard good things about thiamine, B complex, B vitamins, before, during, and after drinking. And Tusa, a member for 2 months of the Buttersock cult, welcome back, saying hello from cold ass Chicago. Yeah, I bet it's real windy up there. Enjoy your members only content. How have the members been enjoying the content? A lot of nice comments left there, which I always appreciate. Doesn't pickle juice ruin breath? Well, I mean, it just depends on the context. Like, I remember seeing, you know, like athletes drinking it and stuff, because it kind of operates very similar to Gatorade and like replenishing your sodium, potassium, things like that, your electrolytes. Holding on to water for hydration. And I doubt in the circumstances where you're chugging pickle juice that you really care too much about how your breath is doing. But I'm sure you could counteract that with a little bit of gum. And Joel, yes, when you receive a donation, it does echo. Oh, interesting. Wonder why that is. If it's like doubled. Oh, am I listening? Maybe it's because I'm listening to, or I have the donation sound on or something for the alert box. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Hopefully it's not too annoying. So after you eat the pickles, you drink the leftover juice. I mean, you can eat the pickles, but the primary aspect is getting the sodium, you know, that's in the pickle juice to like, because sodium hangs on the, or connects to H2O, which is like the whole concept of like staying hydrated. Because sometimes people can like drink a ton of water, but if they don't have the appropriate electrolytes, you know, they won't be able to like hold on to that water, you know what I mean? It'll just like blast right through them. It just starts blasting. USA is so screwy right now. Yeah, it seems like everywhere in the world's pretty screw. All you can do is, you know, keep your head on, you know, be the individual that you want, you know, be the change that you want to see in this world, man. That's all you can do. A lot of people want to blame others for their trubs, but sometimes you just gotta like take your life by the jingle bells, you know what I mean? You want my voice to be a candle scent? It'll be called Joel's Pickle Juice. Yeah, pickle candle scent would be pretty good. Yeah, I remember they make like pickle juice like shots. And you'll go to bars and get like fried pickles. You want to be the sick wizard graffiti on the side of Vance? Oh, dude, I want to see that like pondering orb wizard meme, like graffitied on, legally, obviously, somewhere in the land. Red Fox. Wish me luck tomorrow. I have a call that can go any way with the military tomorrow, refusing. My anxiety is off the charts. They can be taking things from me now. It's so hard these days. Oh, I'm sorry, Red. But thank you for the 10. And thank you for your service in the military. Really appreciate it. Thank you. But I'm doing good, you know. Living life. Just, whenever you go from nocturnal sleep schedule, where all you do is sleep, to like actually, like I've been passing out, I think like pretty consistently between like 9, 10, 11 p.m. It's like that sweet spot, you know. And there will be times where I wake up at like 2 in the morning or whatever. Maybe go take a piss, maybe a shit, maybe a fart, I don't know. But then, you know, I just kind of close my eyes. And it's weird because sometimes I'll just like close them. And then all of a sudden it's like I won't dream or anything, but I'll just like zoom forward to like 6 a.m. We're like, oh, sweet, okay, I'm good to go. But it almost feels as if though my body goes on some sort of like weird like internal hibernation state, because I almost feel like my eyes like aren't fully closed. It's like I'm just like in some strange stasis, but I don't realize how fast time goes by. Steph, happy holidays. Thank you. Well, guys, we have arrived. Thanks for being here again. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all supporting me in this crazy endeavor I call reading spooky stories. You can see Robin's awesome winter-themed stream graphic. And then once again, if you guys like that music, the playlist is a lo-fi Christmas playlist from Fear Dog called Snowy Christmas Days. Pretty badass. Okay, we got 5 thick stories tonight. Pretty excited about that. Who here be excited about them thick stories? The narration king. He hath arrived. He hath ascended. Pickle juice, mayonnaise, 1/3 tomato ketchup, salt, cayenne pepper, and sugar is a great dressing on lettuce with eggs, pickles, and raw onions. Interesting. Your friendly internet grandma. Hope with the 7 Canadian maple syrup dollars. Says, hope you're having a good day, Papa Joel. Thank you. Thank you, Grandma. Hope you're making me cookies for after this. Because I'm coming for them one way or another, Grandma. Gam gam. I will have that cookie. Okay. I'm just going to move this mic ever so slightly so as not to disturb your perfect relaxation. But I don't know if you guys noticed, there's like quite a few really popular streamers from Twitch streams, like the one guy Ludwig. I mean, you already got Dr. Disrespect over there. You got Tim the Tap Man. I don't know if you're familiar with these people. They're just a couple of streaming gamers, you know? And they're making that transition over to YouTube with what I can only presume to be like some sick deals. You know what I mean? Some sick exclusive deals. But hopefully, I mean, I don't know. From what I've heard, like Twitch, I wouldn't say like Twitch is dying per se, but it definitely doesn't have Google money. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, it's good to see Google investing in YouTube and YouTube streaming, kind of like for potential competition for the future. Hopefully that also means that there's some quality of life changes to streams. I certainly would enjoy, you know, a more simplistic streaming experience with more options that at least match, if not have better situations than Twitch. But, you know, all in due time, and I think we kind of got what we need right now, so. Have I started reading yet? Not yet. We're going to do that right the F now. Grandma, can I get a hug? Can she get a hug, Grammy? Born February 12th of 1986 in Syracuse, New York, Philip Markoff was the second and youngest son of Susan and Richard Markoff, the latter of which was employed as a dentist. From an early age, Philip proved an exceptional student. He was bright, well-mannered, and outgoing, gaining membership of the National Honor Society while attending Vernon Verona Sherrill High School. That's a mouthful. Cringe plus Twitch equals tinge. You're painting your room, nice. Seems like, I don't know, there was a funny like meme where like some guy was speed painting his wall, but then they kind of made it so it was like they like green screened it, so like as they paint it, it was like a moving image, and I thought it was pretty sweet. But it was also funny because as he was trying to paint real fast to kind of demonstrate his quick painting skills, he ended up catching the entire side of his like curtain, and I was like, not that good, are you, you son of a bitch? Your mom loves my voice? Nice. Give her my number, JK. The best part about dating a mom is you get a juice box the next morning. Alright, from an early age, Philip, oh yeah, that's right. He was bright, well-mannered, and outgoing. Jesus Christ. There will be a lot of mistakes. Anybody keeping track of mistakes? I like that when they do that. I haven't seen, I think it was Vixa. Vixa was always on top of that. I haven't seen them in a while. He was bright, well-mannered, and outgoing, gaining membership of the National Honor Society while attending Verona Sherrill High School. After graduating in 2004, Markoff enrolled as a pre-med student at State University of New York at Albany, then went on to attend Boston University School of Medicine in 2007. By this time, he was also engaged to be married to a woman named Megan McAllister. Philip and Megan had met while volunteering at Albany Medical Center Hospital Emergency Room and had planned their wedding for the date of August 14th, 2009. But the couple's wedding would never arrive, as Philip was harboring a dark, dark secret. You see, by day, Philip wore the mask of a young, upwardly mobile medical student. But by night, he took on another persona, one people would come to call the Craigslist Killer. On the night of April One OCD thing that I have that thankfully doesn't bother me too much, but you just, even if you're not OCD, you just got little quirks here and there about OCD nonsense. But if the mic isn't perfectly aligned with my nose, it just feels off. But thankfully I figured out how to make the mic so it's no longer stereo, which might kind of give it not as much of an ASMR vibe as you guys were used to in the past. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but it actually evens things out, so the recording's fine. But just aesthetically in my brain hole, I'm just I'd be pondering this orb in mystical and magical ways. You see what I'm trying to say? Nichelle Riles with the 5 says, "Hi, handsome. It's my birthday today. So happy you're live tonight." Well, happy birthday, Nichelle. Thank you. It's good to see you. I should be donating to you one happy, dappy birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Nichelle if you can. That would be awesome. Oh yeah, we're back on TikTok. I bet you guys are excited about that. And I can tell you're excited because I got a whole whopping 40 views on my new TikTok. But basically, my goal that I had talked about before was, well, Fry is my TikTok liaison. My OnlyFans, yeah. And he is going to be he is now an employee, not just a mod, but an employee of the Let's Read family. Let's Read family of businesses and practices. LLC. Anyways, Fry will be doing speed drawings of select stories that he picks from the channel that are 1 to 3 minutes long, as far as just snippets from the stories. And then I'm going to be putting them on TikTok with those speed drawings. And yeah, no pressure to Fry. Don't fuck this up. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I'm not I want to take it seriously in the sense that I want to produce content for it, but it's more just to get my face out there, not literally, but just my channel out there on TikTok, because Jensen was doing TikTok and he's popping off, but granted his content's hilarious. Mine has the potential to go somewhere. I don't really know much about TikTok other than the fact that it harvests your data. But it's just it should be interesting, because I hear about story time stuff. I just needed the visual component, and that's why Fry is coming in. Why are boomers so noisy? I don't know, man. We just be making that noise. We'd be on that loud. Let's Read family is the new American mafia. This is true. Welcome to the family, okay, Fry? I'm doing a little bit of initiation for you. 50 butter socks. You'd be sleeping with the butter socks. All right. Anyways, Dark Secret. You see by the Craigslist Killer on the night. Okay, yeah. On the night of April 10th, 2009. A woman named Tricia Leffler made her way to the Westin Copley Place Hotel in downtown Boston, Massachusetts. Tricia was an escort and had arranged a date with a man over Craigslist who'd given her what she assumed was a false name. But fake or not, that name was her ticket to a room on the 3rd floor of the hotel, where a man had promised her a generous amount for a night of her company. She later said that he seemed genuine, a little skittish perhaps, but nothing out of the ordinary for a first-timer. But when she knocked on the hotel room door and the man welcomed her inside, he proved to have a very different kind of fun in mind. Trisha remembered being told, "Don't look at me," as soon as they were alone. She then felt what turned out to be the barrel of a handgun being shoved in the back of her head before the man forced her to her knees. When he did so, she believed she was going to be killed, but when she felt him securing her hands behind her back with electrical tape, it seemed he had something even worse in store for her before the end. Luckily for Trisha was relatively unharmed, as all her John cared to do that night was rob her of her valuables. But Trisha was no novice. She'd been robbed before, only this time it was different. She later told police that, unlike previous robberies, this perpetrator had seemed to take their time over the... Okay. Where's the best place to send you animations and stuff again? Yeah, you can send it to my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. That should be linked, I think linked down below. That would be cool. Just, yeah, let me know. You're smoking Bubble Hash 420 FTW. Bub Hash. What's hash? I don't even remember what hash is. How often do you do scary private detective or mafia stories? We just need more people to join the Let's Read family. And then we can be making these scary stories on our own. We can be generating our own content, you see? Jake's just kidding. Don't look at me. Mean Girls. This story makes you want to know, take care of business. Alright, where the fuck was I? I lost my place. She later told police that unlike previous robberies, this perpetrator had seemed to take their time over the affair. It was obviously. He was obviously new to armed robberies, but she added that he exuded a sense of gratification while he restrained her, almost like he was getting off on the sickening power dynamic. She was later found bound and gagged on the hotel room floor by terrified housekeeping staff, who immediately alerted the Boston Police Department. 25-year-old Jaleesa Brisman was a young model who lived in New York City, but her career had taken her trips all over the country. But her career had her taking trips all over the country. Most were legitimate modeling jobs, some were slightly less than wholesome. She used to tell me she would do these topless or bikini parties all over the country, said friend and photographer 34-year-old Matthew Terhune. They would pay her $1,000 to go to these really expensive parties and give drinks or pass out food. But she never said anything about being a call girl or an escort. When we questioned her about whether there was anything shady, she said, "Oh no, that's gross." Regardless of her reasons, Jaleesa's work brought her to the Boston Marriott Copley Place on the night of April 14, 2009, and it would prove to be her last night on Earth. Much like Tricia Leffler, Jaleesa had been given the false name of Andy, but it's likely she understood the need for discretion and headed up to the hotel room without a thought. But unlike the incident with Tricia, there seemed to be something Jaleesa didn't like about the man she saw when he opened the hotel room. Perhaps he looked different from a picture he'd shown her, or perhaps it was because he was holding a pistol in his hand. Security cameras later showed that Jaleesa had attempted to run, but had been dragged back into the room by the man inside. She was later found by housekeeping, but unlike Tricia Leffler, she was a bloody, lifeless mess, lying in a pool of her own blood on the carpet. Her attacker had dragged her into the room where she had apparently continued to resist him, enough for him to strike her with the base of his pistol. Jaleesa went down, but came up swinging, so the man struck her again, and again, and again, until she lay bleeding and twitching on the carpeted floor. How in the world the hotel's occupants didn't hear the shot is a mystery, but when Jaleesa Brisman's body was later found by police, she had a single bullet wound to her head, executed after her attacker fractured her skull. She only had a zip tie around one of her wrists, meaning she'd fought valiantly until the very end. Poops and oops. We need more private detective and mafia stories. Yeah, I like the PI stories. Those are really cool. I only did like one set of mafia stories, I think, as far as that goes. But there's a lot of like interesting ones. Just vibing, your boy's driving you insane. Yeah, like sometimes I'll like kind of do some like babysitting for friends and stuff like that. Just like more recently, I just had to, babysit my buddy's daughters and like a transitionary hour between him going to work and then his wife getting back. And man, like taking care of kids, it's like an hour, can feel like 3 fucking hours in a way that it's like kids are fun. Kids are hilarious. They say some of the funniest shit ever, you know what I mean? But like it just seems like it just takes so much fucking energy, you know what I mean? They're like crazier than dogs, you know what I mean? I feel like dogs eventually just like chill out, fucking relax. The kids are just like, brah, fucking shit, brah, I'm lighting this fuse. Oh, there's an open fucking electrical outlet. My finger's going in there. You didn't see it before. I don't know. It is what it is. And I get, but I'm just like, how the fuck are people parents, I mean, I'd like to be a parent one day. That seems like a fulfilling human experience, you know what I mean? Yeah, babysitting's my side hustle, yeah. $900 a fucking minute, bro. That's my cost, because I would go insane. You wish there were secret society stories, but Let's Read might go missing. This is true. I can't reveal too much, especially if we start talking about the Buttersock cult. Insider knowledge. Yeah, it's the fact that you're worried all the time. That's what I'm saying. You just like, and like they don't care. You know what I mean? Like in a way that it's like it's impossible for them to care, because they are. I mean, kids are. I feel like to a degree self-aware enough to a certain extent where like they want to make you worried. They enjoy your fear. They're like the Jeepers Creepers monster or something, or they're like, kids are pretty much like Pennywise. That's why dogs are your children. Yeah, and it's like obviously kids get better over time, but I'm just like, when kids are young, man, like what the fuck? What do you even do? But yeah, my one friend says he's like pretty much what he does is he's just like you gotta stay on the move. You just gotta stay on the move, doing errands, getting them involved, getting them doing shit, getting them constantly distracted, because it's just like otherwise you just go insane. I mean, obviously everybody knows this, but can you imagine 6 girls and 3 boys running around like maniacs? Is that what you grew up in, or is that what you have? Do you have 6 girls and 3 boys? I don't even know. My one friend has 7 kids now, or they're about to have their 7th. And granted, those kids are like some of the most lovely, well-behaved kids of all time. You know what I mean? Granted, they also range from like, she's preggo to like, or the mother's preggo to one of them is getting ready to go off to college. You know what I mean? So it's just, you get it why. But I mean, like I've known them for a long time, and it's just like they've just always been fantastic. So it's like obviously that plays into just making sure that you can be there and be a good parent and just be on top of stuff. But man, it's just so many things to constantly keep to consider. You ran with scissors to piss your uncle off. It was your uncle was Weird Al. Yeah, 7. And they're brilliant, actually. Like they're all like homeschooled. They're all like homeschooled, and they're just fucking brilliant as shit. Now, granted, like their mother has like a master's degree in like biology or something, and she does the homeschooling. So she's smart as shit too. And the dad was a lawyer, now, and works in the medical field and stuff. So it's like they're all like very educated individuals, but just, I don't know, all of them are just so gifted and intelligent, and they're funny as shit. That's the cool thing. It's just like when you meet kids that are just like funnier than you, that shit makes me laugh, because I'm just like, I don't know, I just feel like sometimes like people are just born funny, or they develop like their ability to be comedic at like a young age, and they're just like, they'll just forever be funny. You know what I mean? They never get unfunny. Usually people just get funnier as time goes on. Homeschooling 7. Yeah, I mean, it's a full-time situation. I don't know. I have no clue. That's like, you were homeschooled too? I feel like I had a better education for most people. I think so. I mean, like, you get individualized attention. Like I don't know, your education is just different than the school system. And like, as my friend puts it, he's like, well, you're not being raised by the state, you know what I mean? Which is a good point, but at the same time, there are school systems that are successful as well, but usually that's based on like funding and stuff, and like the area. It's all different, and then obviously the family plays a huge thing. Joel knows from experience, you're comedic genius. Turtle, I'm just happy you're alive, man. All right, hey, who am I? What am I doing? She only had a zip tie around one of her wrists, which means she'd fought valiantly until the very end. And the arrows. In the hours that followed, Boston PD homicide detectives found themselves poring over the Marriott's security camera footage when one of them noticed someone familiar. It was a man who looked remarkably similar to the suspect of their Westin hotel robbery of just a few days prior. Naturally, the police became very interested in apprehending the suspect before he could strike again. If he'd escalated from robbery to murder so quickly, there's no telling what havoc he might wreak in the near future. It took just 48 hours for their man to strike again. Cynthia Melton was a stripper who danced at the... I'll just call her a dancer. I feel like a dancer is probably a better term there. Or exotic dancer, right? I feel like exotic dancer is more like, it's like sanitation engineer. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Do. Cynthia Melton was an exotic dancer who danced at the Cadillac Lounge in Providence. But Cynthia had a side gig advertising lap dances on CRAIGSLIST. She was surprised how popular the ads were and found the private dances could sometimes be incredibly lucrative. On April 16th of 2009, she arranged to meet with a client she had met through the erotic services section at the Warwick Holiday Inn Express. The man had scheduled their meeting for 11 p.m., but once inside the room, a man wearing a baseball cap pulled a gun, made her lie face down on the floor, and bound her with the same type of plastic ties used on Brisman. The attacker then attempted to silence her with a ball gag, stuffing it into her mouth before securing the ties at the back of the head. Cynthia later told police that the tall, blonde young man had been extremely nervous, and that he was visibly shaking as he ransacked her purse for cash and credit cards, telling her, "Don't worry, I'm not going to kill you. Just give me the money." Thankfully, at that point, Cynthia's husband happened to knock on the door, as he became concerned at the dead silence inside the room. When he opened it, the tall, blonde man pointed a gun at him. Both men fled the scene in terror, but it was yet another opportunity for the police to gather evidence on their suspect. They somehow managed to trace the phone he was using to a nearby Walmart and later discovered their attacker had purchased a baseball cap that was worn during the robbery. That was how the police discovered the killer's name. And his name was Philip Markoff. On April 20th, Philip Markoff was apprehended during an apparent routine traffic stop in Walpole, Massachusetts, while he and his fiancée were on their way to Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut. During his 70-minute police interview, Megan McAllister vehemently defended her boyfriend, denying he had anything to do with the Boston hotel murders. "Oh, no. He tells me everything. He doesn't go on Craigslist," she said. "I mean, he's not going to find work or anything, you know?" When asked if he seemed to be spending a lot of nights away from their apartment, McAllister found the idea absurd. "He doesn't have any great friends," she said. "He has a couple friends at BU that I don't even know that well, but we don't hang out with people that much. We don't have money to go out, so it's like we're in the apartment 24/7. He doesn't have a life because he's in medical school." When detectives showed her surveillance photos of Markoff taken on one of the nights of the crimes, she began to realize they believed that her fiancé resembled the suspect. Yet still, she defended him. "He complains about money all the time, that, we have no money, so he's not going to rob somebody," she said. "He'll go to the casino to try to win money. He's not going to rob somebody." Markoff also denied being the Craigslist killer, but by then, police had tracked down emails he had sent Brisman to his Quincy apartment, and one of his victims had identified. How am I doing, King? Oh, just ruling the roost, as usual, as per schmoo. Stop defending your significant others if they're killers. I feel like that needs to be like a tweet, like those tweets where they like clap, where, it's like they really want to get their point across, so they put clapping emojis, and it says, "Stop defending your significant others if they are killers." Come on, guys. We need to do better. I don't know. I mean, it's scary. People who work as escorts and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know where that's legal. I guess like Vegas or whatever, or like Reno or something like that. But I mean, I almost feel like if there's areas where it's legal, you almost need to like hire a bodyguard or something. You know what I mean? Someone, I don't fucking know. But I suppose most of that stuff isn't necessarily like, it doesn't come with a, with a receipt. The IRS isn't really following up on those things. Hence why it's not super official, but it's just very, very dangerous. Hit that like button, baby. Let's go. Okay, when the police took him in for questioning.
Mischievous dog.
David De La Rosa has been a member of the Buttersock Cult for 2 months. Hi, buddy. Happy holidays. Happy holidays, David. How are you? Good to see you. What if our significant other is ourselves? Well, that's something like, I'm listening to this story and the way that it's like going, I'm like, was this woman like, how could she not have been aware? Unless she's just in denial, you know what I mean? Althea with the 10 says, "Good afternoon, Joel. I have a request. I hope you don't totally hate the Grateful Dead, because look up their song, Althea. It is totally awesome." I shall, yeah.
Hey, listen.
You're deep behind me, scratching chairs. Thank you for the 10, Althea. I hope I've been saying your name right. I feel like I wasn't sure if you commented before about mispronouncing it, but I want to get it right. Aaron Wilson with 2 says, "All I want for Christmas is a taint reveal." Yeah. We are getting there. Your friend chased his brother with a knife too, lol. What's his big brother's chasing little siblings with knives? Little siblings? I remember my buddy's little brother chased him around with a knife one time when he was really pissed. But granted, my buddy was Just, not the nicest older brother ever. Oh, the song will help me figure out the pronunciation. Okay, good. We'll be able to put that to rest then and get it right. So many killers have been super convincing. Like, as far as what? Alright, Turtle, you're banned. You're banned forever. Forever. JK. Just for 100 years. When police took him for questioning... Oh, yeah. Your sister locked you in the closet and threatened to beat me with cooking pans if I left. Jesus Christ. It was really funny, just because, like, my buddy's one daughter, she's 5, and then the other one's now just, like, darting around, which is crazy. She's, like, I don't even know, like 17 months or something like that, I think he said. And it's just, you can already see, like, the sibling rivalry, like, starting, like, come in, where the oldest one is like, stop, you're so annoying. And it's like, how can you even say those things when this person doesn't even speak English yet? You know what I mean? But granted, it's like, I probably will be the same. They'll be getting to the point where they just, give the younger sibling the unplugged controller. Am I a fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? There's quite a few fans in here, but I've never actually watched it before. I was told to watch it, and I probably should at some point, but I have not. Markov also denied being the Craigslist killer, but by then, police had tracked emails he had sent Brisbane to his Quincy apartment, and one of his victims had identified him from a picture. When police took him in for questioning that day, he was so arrogant that he was wearing the shoes he wore the night of Brisbane's killing, with her blood still splattered on them. Detectives asked if he had been at any downtown hotels in recent weeks, if perhaps he might have been meeting with women behind his fiance's back and was too ashamed to admit it. Sometimes, Philip, when things like this happen, cheating, I mean, it's a pretty ugly sell. It's from the detective's voice. You've been begging me to watch JoJo's forever. No, what you need to do is tag me or something in a Twitter post or some shit, and I feel like I'll at least eventually see it. I don't always see like every Twitter thing that someone tags me, but if you do it now, I'll keep an eye out for it. Me making JoJo. Is that a JoJo's reference? Some people say you have only child syndrome, but I refuse to believe it. I've been told I have like younger sibling syndrome. I don't really know what that means. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Opinion on Juicy Juice? What's that? I don't know what that is. Juicy J? I know Juicy J. The rap star from 3-6 Mafia. My older brother and I convinced our little sister that during her surgery she was cut open with a chainsaw. She believed this until she was 8. I guess in some fashions, like if they had to do open heart surgery, they actually do have to use like a saw to like literally open up the rib cage, which is fucking, I don't know, that shit's metal as fuck, and hence why like people are so sore after they put you back together. Tag me on Twitter, appreciate it. As a younger sibling with, what the hell is younger sibling syndrome? I don't know. I literally don't know. I just remember like my buddy's wife was like, you give off like younger brother vibes. And I'm just like, shut up. Shut up. Your dad told me that cement mixer trucks were ice cream making trucks. Oh, that would have been sick. You just like stick your mouth at the bottom and just like get covered alive. You have endocarditis and this doctor whipped out a freaking DeWalt saw. No joke. Cut it. Well, speaking of DeWalt, that's what I'm going to get my dad, a DeWalt something. this. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you guys what you guys think I should get my mother. Obviously, she's gonna be like, "Oh my god, thanks," but like, I don't know. I want to get my mom something that she actually wants. Now, granted, I could just like ask around and figure it out, but I want her to be like happy with the gift. I want it to be like useful or like memorable or that kind of thing. Like what a mom's like. Do I like 3-6 Mafia? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. Slop on my knob like corn on the cob. Stuff like that. Get your mom an anime body pillows. Shut up. What are her hobbies? She works a lot, and she's, taking care. She's very devoted to like family, so like she has a big family on her side, so she's like kind of taking care of my grandmother a lot, in the latter stages of her life. God bless her, both of them, they're amazing people. But hobbies, what's her personality type? Well, she is, I think she's in her early 60s, and she's old school sweetheart, you know what I mean? Just a sweet person, just a good person, really. She like cooking and baking. Yeah, she's good at all that stuff, cooking and baking. And Raven with the 5 says, I'd recommend a personalized gift, wood engraved family photo frame. Okay. Yeah, like I always like wonder, like, like moms, like people always get mom stuff like memorabilia, or not like that, you know what I mean? Like something like a wood engraved thing. Not like every gift is a wood engraved thing, but you know what I mean? Like it's like a thing for like memories, or it's very like touching and emotional. But I always like sometimes wonder, I'm like, does a mom just want a fucking Xbox? You know what I mean? Should I get my mom a PS5? Like, would she like that? Something, more, or maybe like a basketball hoop. I don't know. Oh, your dad would kill someone for an air fryer. Okay, interesting. Sounds like a pleasant mother. She's really great. She really is great. Like I take for granted the fact that like people tell me what it was like to grow up with like a mom that sucks. You know what I mean? Like that's just like not supportive or nice, and like is very debasing. You know what I mean? Like says things that are just very like dig into your psyche. Because if my mom said shit to me like that was to hurt my psyche, I think it would do some damage, but the fact that like she doesn't, and I never really thought about that before, I've never really considered any other sort of upbringing. I'm just looking back on it, I'm just like really thankful. Get her a sugar daddy. Yeah, I'll just cover my dad in sugar. Get your ma'am a PS5. I got that to be over the moon. Shit, yeah. I don't even know what the fuck she like to do. Fuck, dude. I'll get her like a new samurai sword or something. Spa day facial. That's actually good. I think she would fucking love that, I feel like she would really like it, yeah, if she could go with like her and her, maybe my dad would want to go with her or something, but like her and her like one of my aunts or her friends or something like that, I think that would be a really like it would make her happy. And then maybe that plus a vacation. Oh shit, a vacation. Yeah, to the fucking kitchen. No, I'm sorry, that's a bad joke. Where would she go? I don't want her to go. Shit. Get her a nail cut. Yeah. Oh. Well, I don't know. I could get her like a sidearm or something like that. Get her a pistol, which I find really funny. It's like people, like guys in my family, get the girls like fucking like self-defense pistols, but then they're always like, well, I don't want something that's like, you know, that's too loud. And I'm like, bro, if a fucking like home invader's rushing you, the last thing I think you're gonna care about is like hurting their ears. You know, it's just, I just want something I can like kill them with comfortably. Just kidding. Your dad got your mom a pink gun. Yeah, that's cool. I remember I got like a pistol, and I got like a pink cover for it because it was a girl. I decided that her personification was female. Get her a drone. Holy shit, that would be fucking sweet. Fucking drone. I remember my buddy. We went on this like lake, and we're all, you know, out on a boat, and my buddy like gets his drone, and like just like it goes up, and like within 15 seconds it just like zooms to the side and then just immediately tail dives into the water. And I see it and I'm like, oh fuck. And in my mind I see it kind of like floating above the, like not floating, but I thought like, oh, I'll just, maybe I can like jump in and grab it, but it just like instantly sank like a stone. It was so bad. Sounds like Nick Swartzen. I love Nick Swartzen, dude. He's so funny. I haven't seen him in anything in forever. There's like so many comedians that I was like super all about back in the day. What was, yeah, Grandma's Boy with Nick Swartzen. Dude, that was such a good movie, you know? It was like, in my mind, I know it's kind of like a cult classic style movie, but does she like plants? She probably would. Yeah, she likes, you know, oh, she likes gardening, you know? Dude, you should have seen the whole front of the house was just like, it looked like a jungle. It looked like a jungle. It was an actual tiger. You just got John Mulaney tickets. Nice. That's awesome. John Mulaney is hilarious. Did I go to college? I did, yeah. It was hard and unenjoyable. That's what she said. Okay, anyways. Sometimes, Philip, when things like this happen, cheating, I mean, it's a pretty ugly situation. Detective Dennis Harris is reported to have said, "We don't mean them to happen. It doesn't make you a bad person, but it only makes things worse if you lie about it." After repeated questioning about where Markoff was on the night of the crimes, Detectives Harris, sorry. I'm your long-lost brother. Well, I'm telling Mom that you keep shitting in the toilet without flushing. I know it's you. You keep saying it's me, and I'm like, that's not my poop, Mom. It doesn't smell like my poop. It smells like Hannah's diet. All right, After repeated questioning about where Markoff was on the night of the crimes, Detective Harris asked if he was getting frustrated. "Yeah, because you keep on asking me the same questions," Markoff said. "I didn't tie up and rob anybody. I told you I don't know what you're talking about, so you can get me..." Fuck. "I didn't tie up and rob anybody. I told you I don't know what you're talking about, so can you get me an attorney?" Markoff was still insistent on his innocence when the police chose to detain him on grounds he was a flight risk. His fiancée, on the other hand, was beginning to doubt him. "Is there any reason for me to be, like, scared to go home with this person?" she asked. "Do you have any reason to fear him?" one of the detectives replied. Megan told him no, that she wasn't scared of Markoff, but what we also know is that she didn't go back to their Quincy apartments that evening, instead opting to head back to her native. Sorry, I have just all sorts of pooped in my brain. Aaron Wilson with the 2 says, "You ever seen Typical Rick? It's got Nick Swartzen." No, I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out. I feel like there was like a period of years where I just missed every movie ever when I was frozen cryogenically. 420 viewers. It's my poop. It's not my poop. Is anyone keeping track? Someone better. How am I supposed to? I feel like, what would be like a good thing to do with like mistakes? Could correlate to something. Like some sort of consequence or, it's whatever. High in church. I remember like when I was young, I would go to these church youth things called Young Life. I don't know if somebody had. That was like a nationwide thing here in the U.S., like a Christian youth thing. And man, there was so many fucking kids that just like got high as shit. I didn't get high, I was a goody two shoes little baby. No, actually, honestly, I don't advise. Honestly, I would never like advise anyone at that like in high school. I just wouldn't like suggest trying, like if I would just be my advisory to not like get into the process of making marijuana a habit, obviously because it's illegal, but just like I know that that's kind of something that gets pressured on the kids and then it becomes sort of a habit. And like I understand recreationally for other people it's like a fun experience and stuff, but I just remember like observing the kids in high school who smoked all the time, right? Like they just, like obviously there were ones that could figure, be productive, but there was so many of them that just sort of like, they went down a sort of cultural direction that was not as focused, you know what I mean? It was just like, it lacked a lot of discipline. And my new rapper name is Young Life with like an exclamation point. But yeah, and it was after I left, dude, like I remember like as a senior, like leaving like the freshman or something the next year, like it was like some of the leaders that they would talk about it and they said it was just fucking terrible. Like they said the kids, like some of the kids were addicted to like smack and shit like that, you know what I mean? It was just bad. Just really, really fucking bad. No, I understand. It's like, people use it for all sorts of reasons, recreation, coping, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I didn't try it till college, and even then it was just like on the weekends whenever it was like more of a party situation. And whatever, I don't give a fuck. Anyways. But what we also know is that she didn't go back to their Quincy apartments that evening, instead heading back to her native New Jersey to be with her parents. Clearly, she knew something terrible had happened and something Markoff wasn't. Clearly, she knew something terrible had happened, something Markoff wasn't innocent of. On April 21st, when Markoff was arraigned in the case of Brisman's murder, the prosecutor stated that a semi-automatic handgun, wrist restraints, and duct tape had been found in Markoff's apartment, all of which matched the varieties used at the crime scenes. Markoff made several attempts to take his own life while being held at the Nashua Street jail. One attempt was made 3 days after his arrest, and this seems to have been the incident that confirmed his guilt in most people's minds. Even after the gun and duct tape was found at his apartment, Markoff's fiancée was insistent on his innocence. She called him beautiful inside and out, but after him attempting to take his own life, she seems to have accepted his guilt. Markoff then made an additional attempt at taking his own life after his fiancée called off the wedding, and another attempt on the day his wedding was to have taken place. On June 11th, she visited Markoff a second time and told him she did not plan to see him again for a long period of time, if ever. At various times he was on watch or in the jail's psychiatric unit, but it seems Markoff wouldn't let anything stand between him and the abyss. On August 15th of 2010, exactly 1 year and 1 day after his wedding was to have taken place, Philip Markoff was found dead in his jail cell. He had somehow crafted a knife using a pen, an open flame, and a piece of metal. a common method for creating what's known as a prison shank. He then used this makeshift blade to open up arteries in his ankles, neck, and legs. Philip had also blocked off his own airway with a wad of toilet paper before placing a plastic bag over his head, tightening it with a roll of gauze that he had been smuggled out. Jesus Christ, dude. This guy was determined. I wonder... I don't think they'll go into, like, the motivations. Stop defending your significant others if they are killers. Do better, Twitter. Twitter. Are you loyal to the foil, or do you do bumps? What does that mean? Isn't bumps like cocaine? I am not a fan. I mean, I've never done cocaine, but I don't know. A lot of people like who I've talked to have experienced it. They said it's very overrated, and that if anything, it's one of those like slippery slope addictions. You know what I mean? Because it's where like it essentially like drains your bank account, and then obviously it's being the stimulant that it is, people can have heart attacks from it. So it's no good. Kratom. Yeah, I've heard about Kratom. Friends have taken it. But even that I've heard can have like addictive properties that aren't fully studied yet, you know what I mean? So I think those types of things also you have to... I take Kratom when I don't want to poop for 3 days. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, it still hits those like opioid receptors, you know what I mean? And so I if it does, you know, there's probably a similar sort of like chemical physiology there that, I don't know if that's the right terms, but that probably is correlated to opioid addiction. So it's like, you know, I think those things can be quite not good. Quite not good. You're out walking, keeping you company. Nice. Be safe. Be safe. Look both ways. Philip had also blocked off his own airway with a wad of toilet paper before placing a plastic bag over his head, tightening it with a roll of gauze that had been smuggled. Sorry. Hello from Greece. Hello, Greece. Kratom can be incredibly addictive. Obviously not as bad as harder opiates or anything like that, but shit sucks. Yeah, well, it's good to know. I remember hearing about it, like, honestly, 10 years ago, I would say. I started hearing about it, and you could get it at, like, a head shop, and it was very casual, you know? But I think, you know, there's a lot more science to it now, and, you know, I don't think that's something that should just be sold at Walmart, you know? Philip had also blocked off his own airway with a wad of toilet paper before place. Sorry, I'm struggling with this sentence. Hello from the UK. The Ook. I'm from the Ook. Oi, mate, I'm from the Ook. Philip had also blocked off his own airway with a wad of toilet paper before placing a plastic bag over his head, tightening it with a roll of gauze that had been smuggled out of the prison's infirmary. The correctional officers who discovered Markov's body were horrified to discover that he had written his former fiance's name and their pet names for each other. Okay, I thought it was pets' names, so I thought I fucked it up. Yeah, not as addictive as me. You must be careful when binging Let's Read. It could result in the forever sleep. The correctional officers had discovered Markov's body. Ugh, I choked on my spit. The correctional officers who discovered Markov's body were horrified to discover that he had written his former fiance's name and their pet names for each other in blood on the cell wall. Photographs of Markov and Megan McAllister were scattered all around his lifeless body, almost like they were the last images Markov wanted to see before clinical death set in. Some of us might be glad to hear that a predator killer, who targeted some of the most vulnerable people in society, met his end in a miserable, painful way. but spare a thought for Megan McAllister. Markov taking his own life was highly publicized in the weeks following his demise, and we can safely assume that Megan got word of how her name was written in blood on Philip's cell wall. Perhaps this was his own messed up way of apologizing, but it's also clear that the act is one that will haunt Megan for the rest of her natural life. A reminder of the man she wanted to marry, a man who turned out to be a monster, who wrote both her name and his story in blood. Oh, that was actually a great ending, writing-wise. But I kind of was hoping to, like, understand, like, why the fuck was he so obsessed with, like, you know, like, what was his backstory to, like, what was his psychology? I always like that in true crime stuff, like, understanding the psychology of why people do what they do, you know, whether it's their upbringing, whether it's something that, like, a trauma that happened in their life, you know what I mean? Like, whether it was a head, you know, even head trauma, you know, like something, you know, or drugs that they took, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that affect the brain chemistry in development or, you know, after the fact. But it's like, why was he, as a budding medical student and, you know, married individual, like, why did he want to do these things? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are so quick in many ways to just be like, oh, he's a monster, blah, blah, blah. But, like, every monster in anything, you know, in Batman, the Joker has a backstory. You know, the Joker is a psychopathic murderer, crazy person, but, like, the Joker has a backstory, you know? And I just always am curious about these types of, like, sort of crazies and stuff, and just wild. CTE is a big factor. Oh yeah, like that's related to concussions, right? I remember what was that? Yeah, that movie with Aaron Rodriguez for the Patriots? Oh, Aaron Hernandez. Yeah, I remember he was like, he killed some people, or some guy that was dating his sister or something like that. He had his 3 friends. He, like, executed some dude. He was from, like, Miami or something, and just, I don't know, was in the NFL, had a great future ahead of him, doing well, and just killed people, you know? And some people will kind of blame, like, CTE and that kind of thing, but I mean, I'm sure it's like a very complicated mixture of all sorts of different stuff, you know? If you grew up in a gang that involved violence and retribution through murder, like, that stuff doesn't leave you, you know, because it's like, for gangs, it's like a philosophy, you know what I mean? It's a religion, you know? You're part of a cult. When you join a gang, you're part of a cult, and if that cult has sort of, like, imparted upon you the usage of violence, you know, to get back at people, or as just a day-to-day form of, you know, human interaction, it's like that shit doesn't just go away. Yeah, and he killed himself in jail too. Crazy shit. "10 years old, yeah." Oh man, hope everyone's doing well. just like I just like press a button or something that has like generic sayings to say in between stories. I hope everyone's doing well. Just like click it again. Click that like button. Aaron Hernandez wore 81 and died on 4/19. 4/19 is the 81st prime number. Then they reported he wrote Illuminati on the wall. But oh, who reported that? That sounds made up. Let us see you, O Master. One day. One day. Will you upload this video to your channel? Yeah, so all these Craigslist stories as I record here and chill with you guys as we record will also be uploaded, well, first on Patreon, early access. So if you guys over there, it's only $1 a month, which is cool. And then it'll be up on YouTube Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Sock reveal. I'll just send those out, you know, for bonus content. On Patreon, on the $5 tier, everybody gets a stinky sock. He had head trauma as a kid, fell off a 10-foot high wall and landed on my loaf. 3 days in a coma. I'm not a psychopath, though. Well, not every day. Even psychopath takes Sunday off, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, though. I mean, obviously, people just... That's what I'm saying. Like, it's nature, nurture, all that kind of stuff. Little ankle reveal. Yeah, I'll be like one of the Mennonites. Ooh, show off a little ankle. I'm a little sussy. Okay, this one's a long one. In October of 2011, when 51-year-old divorcee David Pauly learned his Craigslist job application had been accepted, he was elated. For the past few months, he'd been unemployed and was so broke that he'd been forced to sleep on his brother's couch in Norfolk, Virginia. So, when he got the good news about his job, and the prospect of making a cool $300 a week was nothing short of a godsend. Not only that, but he had been promised a 2-bedroom, all-amenities trailer to reside in, completely free of charge. The ad had read, "Wanted, caretaker for Ohio farm," Ohio. Wanted, caretaker for Ohio farm. Simply watch over a 688-acre patch of hilly farmland and feed a few cows. You get $300 a week in a nice 2-bedroom trailer. Someone older and single preferred, but will consider all. Relocation a must. You must have a clean record and be trustworthy. Nearest neighbor is a mile away. The place is secluded and beautiful. It'll be a real getaway for the right person. Job of a lifetime. If you are ready to relocate, please contact ASAP. The only drawback was the prospect of relocation. But then David remembered an old high school friend who'd moved up to Ohio a few years prior and had managed to turn his life around. That was the decider, and shortly after, David drafted an email to send to the advertisement's poster, a man who called himself Jack. A few days later, David received a reply back from Jack saying that he had narrowed his list down to 3 candidates. Shortly after that came the confirmation call. David's older brother, Richard. Too good to be true. I mean, I could kind of see like that being a solid job, you know what I mean? Like somebody's just needs a farm looked after or whatever, and they just need someone with literally no connections or anybody that will miss them to look after. Job on a farm. It's a trap. It's a trap. You have giant ankles. Hell yeah. Been working on my ankles lately, bro. A few days later. Actually, I kind of want to... Robin said he sent over the thumbnail for the Craigslist one. I want to see if it blows my socks off. Oh my god, that's amazing, actually. Holy shit. This one, it's like so colorful. Let me see it without the... Wow, yeah. You guys are going to dig this one. That's amazing. Also, coincidentally, the guy that was working on my workout had a few hours to work this up. I think if you dig how I broke this down, a fair bit of volume in a 3 on 1 off approach that I think will resonate well with you. We can message the days of it if needed, but wanted to get something that would be solid. If anything is not doable equipment-wise, let me know and I'll give you a substitute. This guy's such a good guy, dude. I don't know if you haven't subscribed. This guy's channel is called Thomas DeLauer. He focuses very heavy on like fitness and the health benefits of like keto and stuff, which is something that I am always down with, you know. And I just feel better on keto, you know, as far as like bloatedness goes. But he's such a nice dude and very, very intelligent. Do you ever like meet somebody that's just like maxed out all their stats in life? You know what I mean? Where they're just like super smart, super intelligent, you know, entrepreneur, family man, just, I don't even know, like ripped. I don't even, it's just nuts. Workout, off or hit, workout 3, either off or rotate back to workout 1. Sunday, either off or workout 1, depending on what you did Saturday. Day 1. Okay, yeah, sorry, I won't bother you with the details of that, but I'm excited. That's exciting. My mom loves this guy. Who's that? Me? Me? Little old me? Oh, he loves the... Sorry, yeah, Thomas. Not me, sadly. Gav Hoff, what's up? Doing good. Last evening in Oregon. Nice. Where were you? Am I vaping? I'm not. Did I sound like I was vaping? Thomas, not you, Joel. Thank you. Honestly, I will take a back seat to Thomas. He's kind of like all that is man. All that is man. What day is it? Tuesday? What the fuck? I love Thomas, but am keto freak, so I always want to know what the studies he is reading lately. Yeah, he's just, I don't know. You know, just like one of those people, just very inspiring. Just, it's like, I don't know, just driven. Just a driven fellow. You're a mom and you love me? Perfect. Perfect, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, anyways, where in the heck was I? Wanted, the only drawback, managed the decider. Shortly after, a few days later, David received... Oh, okay. That was the decider. And shortly afterward, David drafted an email to send to the advertisement's poster, a man who called himself Jack. A few days later, David received a reply back from Jack saying that he had narrowed his list down to 3 candidates. Shortly after that came the confirmation call. David's older brother, Richard Pauley, remembered how happy he was when the call finally came. He was yelling, "I got it! I got the job," Richard later said. Then he immediately called his buddy of his up in Ohio mall and started talking a mile a minute. He swore that this was the best thing that had ever happened to him and said he couldn't wait to pack up and go. Chris Mall, David's buddy up in Ohio, found himself in tears when he got the news. He's long taken to calling David his brother from another mother and had been deeply concerned for his old friend following what had been a messy, bitter divorce. It was like, maybe this is the turning point, and things are finally going the right way, Mall later said. The two friends arranged to meet up during David's first week in Ohio, with Chris promising to help him settle in. After that, all that was left was to pack up his belongings and hit the road. David arrived at the Red Roof Inn in Parkersburg, West Virginia on the night of Saturday, October 22nd, 2011. His journey was almost over, and just before bedding down on the roadside hotel, David called his old friend Chris, who told him to give him a call when he was all settled into his new living quarters. Yet when the next day came and went, Chris hadn't heard back from David, and he began to grow concerned. He contacted David's brother, Richard, who in turn provided him with the landline number for his friend's new employer, the mysterious Jack. To Chris's relief, Jack answered his call to warmly assure him that David had arrived safely at the farm. In fact, he'd only just parted ways with him, and his lack of contact could be explained by the fact that the farm was out of reach of cell phone towers. Jack added that he supposed. "It's a trap, you fools." We rolled over into Wednesday now in the UK. Oh, perfect. Oh yeah, I guess you guys are like 5 hours, what is it? It's almost 8. So like 4 hours ahead ish. Which I feel like it should be more. I don't know why. The UK seems like it should be like really far away, but it's, I don't know. It's kind of weird though. I don't really know a whole lot about like the ocean, the pond, as they say. Amalia with the 10 says, "No, you're live, but I'm at work." Oh, well, here's $10. Check you later if you're still in here in an hour and a half. I probably will be, yeah. I've been getting real distracted, Amalia, but thank you for the 10. Thank you. Hope work goes well.
Hey, listen.
Mateo, welcome. I'm glad you guys could make it. Oh, man. Dude, did you ever, like, I don't know, I listen to this guy, man, like, think about that. Like, just, like, it's almost like you live two lives in life, you know, sometimes. Like, you wait, you know, everybody, like, has this sort of, like, fantasy about finding the perfect one they love or some shit like that, you know. And then all of a sudden you just like have a whole nother life after because you get divorced or whatever. And just like looking at the divorce rates and all that kind of stuff, and I feel like, would it be abnormal to just like live with someone forever? You know what I mean? To like, you know, you still have kids or whatever and all that kind of stuff, and you love each other, but you just like don't complicate matters with the sort of like concept of marriage, you know what I mean? You don't bring it into like a legal format. Like, is that weird to just do that forever? I don't know. I just have like this weird feeling. Yeah, just don't get married. I mean, that's the thing. Like, as long as I don't like accidentally get down on one knee out of nowhere, should be pretty solid, you know. Should be pretty set. I just like trip and I'm like, whoa, and like a ring just like appears out of my hand. Whoops, sorry, I like yelled there. 14 years before he got engaged. Yeah, I guess at that point the government shows up and is like, hey, what the hell's going on here? Labeling relationships is usually their downfall. I mean, at the end of the day, think about it. Like, I feel like there's got to be some sort of like characteristic that just determines that people are going to be okay with each other for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? There's got to be something that you can tell within the first week or two of their interactions that you're like, that they're going to get married and they're going to enjoy each other or be at least cool with each other forever, you know? But I feel like there's like a part of just being around somebody, because what is like, isn't the magic number like 7 years or something of like marriage and living together that people get divorced? And I can imagine 7 years living in the same spot as somebody, if like they annoy the shit out of you like that, you know, you want to take control of your life and you want to get the heck out of there, you know. I'm obligated to marry all of you. Now that would be very legally complicated. Your parents have been married for 44 years. Well, yeah, that's the thing too, is like, do you think like generations have changed, you know what I mean, as far as their standards for marriage and love? Like, people kind of bailing on marriages more recently in the past 10, 20 years, you know, maybe 20, 30 years. Your parents have been together for 25 years, not married. She said she doesn't have to sign a piece of paper to say she's in love. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's chemicals in your brain that tell you that you're in love, you know what I mean? There's experiences, and also, like, to me, love is like an action, you know? You can feel love, sure, but love is like a long, demonstrable action of just a sort of like a selfless act that you've done for a long period of time. Yeah, it's commitment, you know? I don't know. You know, it's weird. It's like, yeah, commitment before God. I don't know. You know what I mean? I sometimes struggle to know what like reality I exist in, where it's like, do I go based off of a book, or do I go based off of the fact that like we're, creatures, we're animals, and like, it's like at the end of the day, from that animalistic perspective, it's like the end goal for the most part is just to follow their sort of like evolutionary guidelines, which most of the time is just like procreation. So in some ways, if you think about it, like marriage is literally just a social construct that, granted, like does, something that does keep you together, but at the same time, it's still just your action of being together and in proximity to one another for long periods of time that insinuates marriage as well, Do I ever get paranoid by reading so many true stories? I think I just shut it off. I think there's just a part of my brain after reading so many that I just like have become desensitized to scary stuff. And I think I do have like subconscious thoughts about how crazy the world can be, but it just makes me maybe more wary, not necessarily scared, but just more prepared, Princess, thank you. Glad I can be part of the work grind. Your mom's dying of Alzheimer's. My dad has been taking care of her for the past 5 years. They've been married 57 years. Oh, yeah. See, that's an action. That's an action of love, to just stick through that, the very hard times. What do I fall asleep to? Yeah, I've told you guys this before, but I really like a YouTuber. His name is The French Whisperer. And he's got a great monotonous voice. You'll see he talks like this, and then sometimes he will read different stories about different things from all over the world. Sometimes he will talk about space and perhaps the history of diamonds. And you see a diamond, it oftentimes can be found and purified within the deepest recesses of planet Earth. The French Whisperer sounds mega kinky. Maybe I don't even realize I'm on like a kink page, but he kicks ass. He's really good. If you guys need like another person to just switch up the old sleepy time routine, hopefully you don't find him and you're like, Let's Read sucks compared to this guy. But in terms of legalities, I guess marriage law, not religious, is convenient for those who have to split assets and all that. Well, that's what I'm saying too, is like a lot of like people get screwed in divorce, you know what I mean? Like, sure, to start out, maybe you get some like discounts from fucking taxes fucking pounding you, but like then after that, it's like you might get screwed in asset division. And I just heard so many horror stories about that kind of stuff, and it sucks too, because like people will go from like being your closest loved one to your, like, they hate you, they might just wake up one day and just like a switch goes off in their head and they're just like, I don't love you anymore. You kind of suck a lot. You kind of suck balls. And like, and I understand that. I just kind of understand, but at the same time, like, it's terrifying. Yeah, and imagine that too. Like, someone taking. I mean, I'm probably bringing up some like negative thoughts here, but granted, I do read true. This is a true scary story for you. But like, someone taking custody of your kids just cause. You know what I mean? Just cause. Like, some of the worst stories I've heard is like people catching their spouse like cheating on them, and then the spouse divorces them and takes everything. You know what I mean? That's like next level evil, to be the one that goes out of the way to like ruin the relationship and destroy trust, destroy everything, but then also like destroy that person's life legally because they have no recourse and they didn't expect themselves to like marry a soulless person, you know what I mean? I don't know, like that to me is fucking beyond terrifying, you know, and one of the number one reasons I probably would never get married, you know? Is common law partnership not a thing? I think it is after like 10 years, depending on the state. You still have to split assets and stuff when you separate. You do taxes together. It's marriage without the wedding. Oh, is that like forced upon people? I don't know. Canada sucks, to be honest, with their laws. Theirs are like super... I don't even know. I don't really like... I hear about Canada's and it sounds even worse. Like, people spend like one night together or something like that, and there's horror stories of someone getting like alimony out of that shit. It's like, what? Why? Pennsylvania doesn't have that anymore. Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, yeah, that's so cool. It's so interesting. People had like actual insomnia where they just can't sleep, and then listening to my voice just sends them right off. And I really appreciate that. I mean, some people have messaged me saying that I like cure their migraines and shit, you know, and that to me is like sick, because migraines, I thankfully don't suffer from them, thank God. But you know, to deal with that all the time, where you're like nauseous from like your headaches, whatever the cause may be, you know, if I can be something that can help you get relief from something as crazy as that, that's like a huge honor in my mind. Common law partnership is automatic after living together for a year. Y'all are shot. Really? A year? A year? Just living together for a year just like throws you into a legal contract with another human being where you're now obligated financially to them? That's terrifying. What the fuck? A year? Dude, everybody lives together for a year. Like, you just, even, what about in college? You just have a roommate and now you owe them money. Joel's voice needs to be insured. You know, the best way to insure my voice is to simulate it through AI. And that's something that I think will probably replace me down the road. And maybe in some sort of like weird Soma-esque dystopia, could be a good thing, you know what I mean? Where you collect enough of my voice data to create like a Let's Read AI, you know, and then I can cure migraines into the fucking future. Or maybe Elon Musk's like brain chip will do that, who knows? We're still on marriage. You do wonders for depression? Oh, really? Why? Thank you. Yeah. Suffer from night terrors, and funny thing about it is that these types of stories actually reduce my... Yeah, someone was saying that before, too. It's just like someone left a really nice comment on the most recent, like, Jingle Your Bells video, the Christmas one. Which, by the way, we have newer Christmas stories coming out next Monday, and then Christmas True Crime coming out the Monday after that, so should be pretty fucking lit. But they left a really nice comment on that more recent video. I don't even know, it was very articulate, and like they had no idea what they were listening to was terrifying until it like hit them. I'm like, that's kind of a cool little... That's just kind of a cool thing. Immersion therapy? What's that? Where you dip yourself in Wawa. What's my favorite food? I like lasagna. Lasagna. A family-sized lasagna. It's sorcery, you see. It's sorcery. I would be curious, like, if there's, like, some sort of, like, just something scientifically able to explain, like, the frequency of my voice, the microphone that I record into. Well, I guess that wouldn't really stand up because I have two microphones in front of me right now. But, like, just something about the frequency that causes people, you know, it's the, what do they call it? The brown frequency, where when you hear it, you just shit yourself. Because that's what people send me too. Like, I'll get hate mail all the time. It's like, hey, I listened to you. My girlfriend told me to listen to you. Said it would like help me relax, you know, my stress while I'm at basic training. I fucking woke up in a pile of diarrhea. It was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me at boot camp. I usually don't respond. I don't know what to say to that, but that's probably, I've gotten like 100 of those messages. My stories have made you invest in pepper spray and every safely keychain. That would be a good sponsor, like a pepper spray sponsor. The brown note, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. There's no brown note. Okay. Jack added that he supposed David hadn't called because he'd been busy familiarizing. God damn it. Familiarizing. What the fuck is this word? Familiarizing. Okay. I don't know why that sounded weird, but it sounded weird. Stop making you want to poop. It's time to shit. The time to shit is now. The time is 8:02 p.m. Eastern Time. What made me start YouTube? Pretty much everybody else who started YouTube. They saw somebody else do it and they thought, fuck, I can do that. You know what I mean? I remember seeing, PewDiePie and being like, this fucking idiot does YouTube? It's like, I can do fucking YouTube. But I was like, what can I do? And I'm not calling you PewDiePie an idiot, but I mean, like, because I think he seems like a very nice gentleman. But like, it just, it was just like, I want to do this. I want to fucking be a YouTuberino. And then I was like, well, what could I do long term? Or what could I do like without getting burnt out? And I was like, oh, maybe like reading, nobody does that on YouTube. But then I stumbled across like all of the creepypasta community. I'm just like, damn, I guess this is what the people want right here. Joel should be more popular than PewDiePie. Honestly, I'm kind of thankful that I just kind of have like a very niche little corner of YouTube and podcasting like carved out, you know what I mean? Like I'm thankful for what I have. And PewDiePie seems like he seems like he's having a good time. I check out some of his videos here and there, and he's just having a good time cruising and stuff. But seems like a lot of stress. You know what I mean? It seems like a lot of stress to be like too popular. Like imagine being Mr. Beast. Where it's just like every fucking video you do, you got you're just like, oh fuck, I just did like literally the whole Hunger Games show. And got like 100 and quadrillion views on it. Like, what can I do next? I gotta go fucking cure cancer on Mars, this next one, or nobody's gonna think I'm cool anymore. I'm not saying he actually has to do that, but oh mama, do I listen to Mr. Nightmare? I don't know. I mean, I've listened to him, but like I don't really listen to like true scary stories as like my content consumption. I've just never really been. I like true crime stuff and hearing about it like as I'm reading, but it's not really something I like to. Recently, I feel like I really enjoy listening to like Stoic philosophy. That stuff's very interesting to me, and just different audiobooks like that. I get really annoyed with politics because it's like people. I don't know. I get annoyed with like political channels and stuff because I don't know, like they're just kind of like reporting reality to you, and most of the time it's very sensationalized and negative, which is what draws you in the first part. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make you mad. That's the job. They want to elicit emotions from you. That's to keep you coming back, and because you want to get mad, and then all of a sudden you get one video where it's like, here's some good news. They're not gonna kill you now, or you know what I mean, or some shit like that. But then most of the time you're just like left powerless listening to like politics all the time. unless you get like involved locally, which I advise everyone to do, because I really do think a lot of people have power over their local area more than they think, and I think it's important to participate in that civic process. But like the nice thing about like sort of stoic philosophies and like sort of like not necessarily self-help stuff, but like just developing better perspectives on reality that are like bettering yourself, and that to me, it's like it's very empowering, as opposed to other stuff that's constantly just wants to fill you with the sense of like victimhood. Today you're being held under the water, what are you going to do about it? And you're like, oh, you can't do anything about it. But like, I don't know, with the stoicism, it's sort of like constantly reiterates to you that you can, that you can change the world, but it just starts with yourself. Jack added that he supposed David hadn't called because I'm not good at reading. I give up. Jack added that he supposed David hadn't been... You and philosophize, yeah. It's my favorite word. Jack added that he supposed David hadn't called because he'd been busy familiarizing himself with the vast surrounding farmlands, an excuse which made perfect sense to Chris. Jack then assured him that he'd get David a call as soon as possible, and the men ended the conversation on good terms. When a few more days passed and David still hadn't called, Chris Small began to worry. He called Jack on his farm's landline again, only to be informed that David had apparently packed all of his things into his truck before taking off for Pennsylvania, apparently to work on a drilling rig for a more generous salary. Again, it was an excuse that made all the sense in the world, but for some reason, it just didn't sit right with Chris. The two men had been best friends since high school, and despite living in different cities and states over the years, they always kept one another informed of their whereabouts. David had been beyond excited to hook up with his old drinking buddy, so the idea that he'd just taken off without a word just seemed odd. Around 2 weeks after Chris Small's last contact with his old friend, he contacted David's twin sister to see if she'd heard from him. He was told that not only had Dabby, that'd be funny if someone's name was Deborah and they smoked dabs, so you called her Dabby. Jessica Shonk has become a mischievous dog and a member of the Buttersock Call. Welcome, Jessica. You now have access to bonus content. You're the reason I could focus on homework. I find that interesting because when I would do homework, I would listen to like sort of, the sort of like typical beats, you know what I mean? Beats to study to or whatever, because they helped me sort of zone in, have something in the background, just kind of cruising, enjoying that like subconsciously. But if I ever like had lyrics in the music, I got so focused on the lyrics I couldn't read, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't look at my notes and shit. Mischievous frog. Dabby is a character in My Hero Acid. What's that? What's that? Is that an anime? Lo-fi? I mean, back in the day, like, I think, obviously lo-fi existed, but like back when I was in college in like 2011, lo-fi wasn't really like this popular YouTube streaming thing that was constantly going on, or beats or whatever. I mean, I listened to lo-fi, I had it on earlier during the stream to start up, but it was more just, I think I listened to a lot of, what do they call that? Like IDM stuff, you know what I mean? Like Taiko and Kettle, and all sorts of weird, like Eastern European music that wasn't just like fucking headbanging stuff. Hello, Pradeep. Pradeep did this really funny thing where I was like in bed, but I had the covers over me with my like phone in front of my face, watching YouTube videos or something. And he like jumped up and like he kept like kind of cycling back and forth between jumping up and laying on my chest and then leaving and then doing that and stuff. But then eventually, like once I had the covers on me, it like triggered something where like he kept just like thrusting his body into the covers, like just rolling all over me and stuff. So like I don't know if he wanted me to come out from under the covers, but it was just like such a funny thing that to see him do. Also, I don't know if you guys have like any suggestions for like training dogs, but like my parents have 2 dogs. The one is oh, it's random. Wait, what is this? This has been my point of focus for a while. Oh, nice. I don't even know. What the fuck was I even talking about? Yeah, Chill Wave. Yeah, Chill Wave's a good one, but that's more like synth stuff. Oh yeah, they got a dog, and it was just funny because like my dad sort of takes this like perspective, like when I come in, the dog's like jumping up and very excited and stuff. But I try to like, he's like, oh, I'll yell and say get down, and somehow that's gonna do something, which a lot of people do. But I brought over like little treats, this like little like training treats and stuff. Have I released photos of Pradeep? Yeah, there should be some on my Twitter and stuff of Pradeep here and there. And anyways, it was just so funny, like within like such a short period of time of just like finding that she's very motivated by treats. My parents like black lab mix, taught it how to like sit, or was like sitting, and like taught it how to like, lay down, like within a short period of time. But it was just so funny because my dad like has kind of taken this philosophy on training dogs, that dogs can't be trained and that they usually calm down by like year 2. I'm just like, what? Why is that just sounds like utter chaos to like not try to like train a dog, you know what I mean? Your dad started using a shock collar. I don't like it, but using a spray bottle with some dogs approved pepper works too, apparently. Well, that's the thing is like, I don't think you want to like create that negative feedback loop, you know what I mean? Like where they're scared of stuff. You just like want to find what motivates them, what they like, which most of the time you see those like dog trainers, like they have just little snacky snacks in a fanny pack and they pull it out, and every time the dog gets closer and closer to accomplishing whatever task you want them to do, you give them a little snacky snack. And usually by associating that snack with the action and with usually either what you say or your hand movements, like sit or down, or you know what I mean, like the hand gestures and stuff, it'll stick with them through like repetition, and you don't have to like do anything like excessive. Dogs learn the most in their first 2 years. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you kind of have to like get to them. Nikolai, thanks. Okay. He was told that not only had Debbie not heard from David, but she'd been practically glued to her laptop for the past 2 weeks, conducting what amounted to an amateur investigation into her brother's disappearance. She went on to tell Chris that she'd made an incredibly disturbing discovery. She discovered that although it was indeed in an isolated area, there was a small town named Cambridge a few hours' drive from Jack's farm. She then pored through articles from the town's news website, the Daily Jeffersonian, only to find something that made her blood run cold. That sounded like too loud. Run cold. See, Gen C with the 10 says, yo, what's up, Home Rock? What's up, Jen? What's pop-a-loppin'? Thank you for the 10. What are you doing, my dude? She discovered. She then poured through articles from the town's news web. Fuck. We used treats and a clicker. After my dog started to understand commands, we took the treat slowly out of the equation and turned it into a good boys and pats. Okay, nice. Yeah, I was curious about the clicker. Like, how does the clicker work? Like, you just have the treat, like, the clicker gets their attention, kind of. Like, here's the clicker. And, like, hands... Well, I guess, yeah, you said good boys. And she discovered that, although it was indeed in an isolated area, there was a small town named Cambridge a few hours' drive from Jack's farm. She then poured through articles from the town's news website, the Daily Jeffersonian, only to find something that made her blood run cold. The November 8th headline read, "Man says he was lured here for work, then shot." The article didn't mention the name of the victim, but it did mention that he'd been hired to work on a 688-acre ranch, and that the Noble County Sheriff, Stephen Hanoum, was working day and night to find the perpetrator. Debbie had called the sheriff's office immediately and was waiting patiently to hear back. 5 days before Debbie's call, deputies had been contacted by the shooting victim from the headline she'd read, a man named Scott Davis. David told the deputies that he'd seen the ad... Wait, 5 days before Debbie got contacted by the shooting victim. Wait, did they mean David? Wait, is there two David? Ah, fuck, hold on a second. I'm just confused if David is separate from Davis. Wait, oh yeah, not heard from Oh, I see. David. See, Jen C with the $20 Reno. Thank you, Jen. Says, only have a few minutes. Get dinner on me night. Oh, thank you, Jen. Thank you. Hope you have a lovely evening. I appreciate that. Thank you. Take something like a pill pocket treat. They are soft and squishy. Pinch in a super small amount off as a treat. Call them to you. Click. Then when they come to you, give them the treat. Rinse and repeat. Okay. Wait, call them to you, click. And when they come to you, give them the treat. Okay. First, you get them to associate the clicker with getting a treat. Then you introduce the clicker to the behavior you're training them to change. Okay. Yeah, Pavlov Doge. Peace out, Jen. Peace out. You pinch a small amount so you can give the reward frequently without overfeeding. Oh, that's right, yeah. Just a little bit will do the trick. Why do pill pockets look like dog flashlights, lol? Okay. David told the deputies that he'd seen the ad for the job on Craigslist, but that when he arrived at the farm, his prospective employers had tried to murder. Okay, so this Davis... Wait, so I think they misspelled this here between David and Davis, because David... Okay. Davis told the deputies that he'd seen the ad for the job on Craigslist, but when he'd arrived at the farm, his prospective employers had tried to murder him. Stephen Hanoum was terrified that David Pauly hadn't been so lucky, and so the next day, the sheriff's office called an FBI cybercrime specialist to help them get information about who had written the Craigslist ad. They also sent a crew with a cadaver dog back to the woods where Davis had been shot, just in case the worst had already happened. On the day of the search, one FBI agent recalled what he described as a torrential downpour, and how the howling of nearby coyotes gave the search an ominous feel. Shortly before sunset, the search team found a patch of disturbed soil covered with broken twigs. When they scraped away some of the dirt with their hands, they discovered blood seeping from the wet earth, and before long, they unearthed a socked foot. A socked foot. Best podcast ever. Thanks, Jimmy. You know what's kind of crazy? I think I told you guys this before, but I'm pretty sure that my podcast, from what somebody sent, ranks in like the top 1% of 1% of like true crime podcasts, which I don't know like if that like statistically, if I like have a ton to compete with, I'm not really sure, or if that like specific niche is like not super saturated or something, you know what I mean? But I was like, that's pretty dope. I don't know. And it's kind of crazy because it's like somewhere I was reading online that like average podcast, like they're like, what's like good podcast viewership? And they're like, well, most people's podcasts like on average will probably get something like 35 views or 35 listens. But like really good podcasts get like 3,500. But then I was like, and there's like, and then then you got Joe Rogan's that gets like close to like 12 million. But then I was thinking like my podcast like sometimes can get upwards of like 100,000 listens. You know what I mean? So like that made more sense to me, and I'm like, holy shit, like I don't know, I was like honestly curious. Like I was like, does this podcast like, I kind of started on like a side thing, you know what I mean? But it seems like it has like a really, really, really like bright future to it, you know what I mean? Which is very exciting. Oh, okay. Someone asked if I have an RSS feed link for the podcast. If so, can you send it? I couldn't find it on Podcast Addicts. Yeah, I'll check. Yeah, I'll try to respond to that after this because, yeah, I think there's one. Hi, I'm Jeer. I was not told. Venus, what's up? All right. Sorry about that. Anyways, we're reading about Davis, FBI torrential downpour. Then they found blood. Wait. Excuse me. Do you have favorite types of stories that you enjoy narrating more or less? I like the paranormal ones. I just find them more fascinating, you know what I mean? They scraped away some of the dirt with their hands, and they discovered blood seeping from the wet earth. And before long, they unearthed a socked foot. The body was face down, and around one wrist was a corded black leather bracelet with a silver clasp. A police officer contacted David's sister and described the bracelet, and that's how she found out that she'd never see her brother ever again. Next to the site at which David was buried was a second, empty grave, one that had surely been meant for Scott Davis. Just days later, law enforcement was studying security camera footage taken from a roadside diner. In it, they observed Scott Davis meeting a man for breakfast. They knew it was the same man that had offered him the farm job, and possibly it's the same man. You know, the last podcast on the left was pretty big listen. Your podcast is the second most listened to in my lineup of podcasts for sure. Nice, thank you, Van. Yeah. Anyone want to see me in a mini skirt? What about like a big skirt? A giant skirt. Like one that's like the size of a parachute. Where can you view previous podcasts like these? Oh yeah, the live streams. If you go to the playlists if you're familiar with on YouTube, you have playlists. There's one called like live streams, Q&A or something like that. All of the old live streams get put in there as like unlisted, just so they don't take up like visual space on the channel. And that's where you can find them. Shortly after. They knew it was the same man that had offered him the farm job, and possibly the same man that had killed him. Shortly afterward, the FBI cybercrime specialist managed to scrape together enough information from CRAIGSLIST to trace the original post's IP address to a small town in Akron, Ohio. He's like scratching the chair. Don't do it. Sir, don't jump. Sir? Pradeep's about to jump off the top of the chair, and I'm like kind of scared. Have you ever thought about doing a podcast style video with other horror and narrator creators? I don't know what the fuck you talk about though. I just don't have like any time. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I guess I could jump into a call or something like that and just be like, hey, let's BS for a while about these topics or something if someone was really interested in, if someone was interested in doing that. But yeah, do a flip. Do a flip. But I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, no one's ever, I mean, I've been on podcasts before, like helping other people and like doing like Q&As and stuff on there, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go on Joe Rogan, guys. Come on. Joel, let's talk some bullshit. About what? What do you want to talk about? Just some bull. You want to talk about bulls? You want to talk about the shit that comes out of their butt? You plus Mr. Nightmare would be sick. Mr. Nightmare confuses me. Like, I mean, obviously he's like light years beyond a lot of like channels as far as like just general views in comparison to like true scary story stuff. Like, he's definitely the tippity top tier in that niche, but he just confuses me that he doesn't like he doesn't really do many other like business ventures, you know what I mean? He doesn't really use his platform to promote his new podcast or his new product. Like, does he ever do what's it called, like sponsorships? I mean, I know he did a sponsorship one time for a podcast with remember what's his name, Rainn Wilson has like a podcast recently that I've seen like advertised everywhere, and I think pretty, you should lay down and chill, my dude. But it's whatever. I mean, obviously his videos are kind of short, so like a advertisement that takes up a solid proportion of that might not be very entertaining to people. But I've always been curious. I'm like, what is because Mr. Nightmare doesn't talk to anybody, he doesn't interact with anybody, he doesn't like say anything on social media, like he just literally just does his own thing, you know what I mean? And which is cool, I respect that, and I'm jealous of that like sort of sense of like privacy, you know what I mean? But I'm just surprised that, I mean, he must have like, he's probably just mining a fuck ton of crypto or some shit and just doesn't care. In at the observatory. Okay, what the fuck am I doing? Shortly after with the FBI cybercrime. Oh yeah. Shortly afterward, the FBI cybercrime specialist managed to scrape together enough information from CRAIGSLIST to trace the original post's IP address to a small house in Akron, Ohio. When the investigators arrived at the house, the homeowner told them he'd never been on CRAIGSLIST in his life, nor did he know anyone named Jack. However, when the FBI agents showed him a picture of the man they believed to be Jack, the homeowner recognized him. He told the agents the man had rented a room from him for $100 a week, and that his name was Ralph Geiger. Real nice guy, the man reportedly said. Didn't cuss, didn't smoke, didn't drink, went to church every Sunday. The agents asked if the man had a contact number for this Ralph Geiger, and he did. The same homeowner then called Geiger and kept him on the line as the FBI traced the call. This led the November 16th SWAT raid on the house in Akron, Ohio, yet when their target was detained, they discovered his name wasn't Ralph Geiger, and that in fact Ralph Geiger was already dead. The man they now had in custody was named Richard Beasley, but Beasley hadn't been working alone. Scott Davis had mentioned that Beasley had been in the company of a young man named Brogan. This Brogan turned out to be a junior at the nearby Stowe Monroe Falls High School named Brogan Rafferty. The FBI intercepted Brogan while he was at school, interviewing him in the principal's office while partnered agents searched the boy's home. Brogan later told his mother that before he left school that day, he had found a girl he liked and kissed her, even though her boyfriend was nearby. He had been worried that he'd never see her. Oops. Joel is my savior. Joel's is Christ. How old am I? I don't remember. I guess like fucking 200? Almost 200? Things certainly have changed. That'd be funny if like vampires said that. Like, geez, people sure are soft today. But they're like referring to like their necks or something. Geez, everyone's a bunch of softies lately. And they're like cutting into somebody. He's collabed with a few. Yeah, what's his name? Mort and Broccoli Animations. Like such a random name. He runs both those channels and uses my narration for them. I recently asked him to like cut down the usage of the narration to like half, because it was kind of like I'm pretty sure people kind of just like are under this interpretation that like he does the voice or whatever, you know. He was nice enough to like put like an overlay for my channel, you know, that's the narrator, and then have it in the description and stuff. And then at the end I have like a little thing that I say, like, if you like these and you want to hear more, come over to the channel and hear him. Because initially I'm kind of like, fuck, man, like he takes my full 40-minute video, you know, because I didn't expect that. I didn't expect like animation channels to do like, you know, you expect them to do like 10, 15 minutes or some shit, but he does like the full fucking like 40 minutes of them, you know, which essentially motivates like no one to come over to my channel, you know, afterwards to hear more. So hopefully people do. Hopefully it generates some more, you know, subscribers and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm like butthurt about like using the content or anything, because I mean I gave permission for it to happen, but I just want to like strategically figure out how I can maximize like generating the most people from his, you know, animations over to the channel. And I think we found a good like happy medium at this point, so it should hopefully work out well, you know. The listeners tonight are made of tough stuff. We're not scared. Obscene Orchestra has become a member of the Buttersock Cult. Welcome, Obscene. You now have access to the members only content. And Jasmine P with a 5 says, what's your favorite seasonal coffee flavor? I like pumpkin spice. I'm definitely one of those basic bitches that just love pumpkin spice. I fucking love it though. It's so good. I mean, I, you know, obviously try to cut back on the sugar and stuff like that, but goddamn, when I go through fucking Dunkin' Donuts, jizz my pants to that stuff. It's so delicious. Honestly, I wish I could drink like a whole fucking giant mug of it, you know, like they have a large, but I want like a fucking quadruncle. They should just name a whole ass like giant size above that. I miss supersizing. Did supersizing become like illegal? Why Brogan? Joel, tell me, and tell me truly, why did Brogan throw away his life for a life of crime? Bro, I don't know. I did kind of think that though. I'm like, fuck, man. Imagine being like a high schooler, and now you're an accomplice for a murder because you were just like manipulated by some older fucked up person, whoever that might turn out to be here, because of whatever went through their brain. And now your entire life, I mean, he'll probably be tried as an adult, I imagine. I don't know, but pumpkin spice is better than sex. Oh my god, it's better than sex.
Mischievous dog.
You want an IV of pumpkin spice? No, I want it to fucking go right to my mouth so I can taste it. Whitney Williams has been a member for 2 months. of the Buttersock Cult. Love this channel so much, Joel. A Patreon member. Thank you, Whitney. I appreciate the support. I wish I could give members like early access, but it's just like complicated with like uploading, because you can't just upload audio, and it's way more faster on Patreon to like upload audio for like early access. But I do try to do the bonus content for the $5 tier on both sides. So like I said, the bonus content, bonus members only content this month for December will be ghosts. Ghosts! Fucking ghosts, bro. Pumpkin Spookaki. Mother's ring or mother's pendant. See, yeah, I think Heidi is really behind on the stream, which I guess if that's the case, I would advise people to just like refresh their stream on the off chance that they need to like, that the stream is like super behind. Because I remember this one, it was not that long ago, but like a week or two ago, someone was donating like $50, like really big donos, and then they got really pissed that I wasn't responding, and I was like, no, I did, but I had to type it in the chat, and I'm like, I did, but I think your stream is, you know, off kilter with the chat, because I think the chat consistently stays in real time, but the stream can sometimes be backed up or whatever due to whatever buffering issues and connection and all that kind of stuff. So, and I think that like left a bad taste in their mouth because they thought I was ignoring their like their donation and shit. So I felt bad about that, but you gotta upload the chill hop and synthwave pretty. Oh, that's right, Astro. Thank you for reminding me. I still feel like I might forget, but I do need to do that. Absolutely. Faux show. Faux shiz. For shit. Oh, for shit. Okay. He had been worried that he'd never see her or anyone else from his high school again. He was right to worry, but not because he'd kissed anyone. Because that evening, police arrived with a warrant and he promptly arrested. He was right to worry, not because he'd kissed anyone. Because that evening, police arrived with a warrant and he was promptly arrested. Meanwhile, other FBI agents dug up everything they could on the mysterious Jack. Jack turned out to be none other than Richard Beasley himself. Richard was born in 1959 and raised primarily by his mother, who worked as a secretary at a local high school. He married and had a daughter named Tanya, who was about the same age as Brogan Rafferty, and had held down various machinist jobs over the years in between. Prison spells. He'd done 5 years on burglary. Goddamn. He'd done 5 years on burglary charges in Texas and another 7 in a federal prison for a firearms violation. One FBI agent later said that Richard looked like an evil version of Santa, with his wild eyebrows and bushy white beard. He also seemed to have mobility dysfunctions, damn it. He also seemed to have mobility difficulties, which apparently stemmed from an incident in the mid-2000s when a dump truck hit Richard's car, leaving him with head, chest, and spinal injuries. After the accident, Richard told people he'd found God and began to spend a lot of time at a local megachurch known as the Chapel. He also became heavily reliant on opiate-based medications, and his addiction wreaked havoc on what was already a chaotic lifestyle. Acquaintances. Christmas death metal in Bloodnog. Best way to spend the holidays. Heck yeah. About to bleach my hair. Hope all are doing well. Well, be careful. Good luck with the bleach. Don't mix it with ammonia. Acquaintances had described Richard as lazy and a scam artist, but assured police he was relatively harmless and had never once lost his temper in the time they'd known him. But it seems Richard had a darker side. Excuse me. Is the member notification voice Dinesh from Silicon Valley? No, it's Chills. Mischievous dog. But it seems Richard had a dark side, one that he revealed to very few people in his life. Amy Saller, Amy Saller, a self-described former crack addict and escort, knew Richard. What the fuck? I don't know why that made me laugh. A self-described former crack addict and prostitute. Amy Saller, a self-described former crack addict and escort, knew Richard after meeting him at a halfway house. He told me his mission was to save all the girls that are on the streets, she later stated. I pictured him as a savior, somebody that was trying to help me, but he didn't want to help. All he wanted to do was use us. Richard bought cell phones for many of the girls at the halfway house, but instead of using them to touch base and keep them on the right track, Richard essentially became their pimp. He began advertising their services online before driving them to meet Johns. Amy added that Richard would do anything to his... do anything. Amy admitted... oh, yeah. Amy added that Richard would do anything in his power to keep the girls at the house, including having them relapse on their addictions just to keep them pliant. Is pliant the word? Pliant? Pliant? Pliant, easily bent or flexed, pliable, malleable, easily altered, yielding readily to influence or domination, compliant. Interesting. I've never seen it like used without compliant. Amy added that Richard would do anything in his power to keep the girls at the house, including having them relapse on their addictions just to keep them pliant. Amy said that although she never saw Beasley get violent, all the girls feared him. He was a manipulator, a man who implied violence, and although he generally kept his cool, they knew he was perfectly capable of inflicting serious harm. In early 2011, Richard was arrested in Ohio on narcotics charges. While he was locked up, investigators began building an additional prostitution case against him. But when he was released, While he was locked up, investigators began building an additional case against him. But when he was released on bond in mid-July, he went on the run from the law. Richard desperately needed to disappear, and when he realized his ticket was to assume a new identity, his deep-seated predatory nature had him coming up with a deeply sinister plan. Instead of vulnerable young women, he would target vulnerable older men with so few connections to the world around them that once he'd robbed them of their lives, he could rob them of their names. 1 week after arresting Brogan Rafferty, investigators offered the 16-year-old suspect a deal. If he agreed to testify against Richard Beasley, he would be charged only with complicity. Yeah, I feel like we didn't get the specifics. I don't know if you guys heard or not, but did we get the specifics on Brogan's involvement in these murders? I'm just like confused. Out here at the gym trying to beach 135. That's okay. Gotta start somewhere. I'm a wascally wabbit. We leased. Sometimes I do that a lot. Have like a lisp out of nowhere. I don't know. Is that a lisp when you say like a W instead of an R? If he agreed to testify against Richard Beasley, he would be charged only with complicity to murder. Bizarrely, Brogan would later renege on the deal, but the initial conversation was recorded, and a judge later allowed it to be presented to the jury during his trial. According to Brogan, Richard had been open about the fact that he was on the lam and needed his... Was on the lam? On the lam? Is that a phrase? On the lam? An idiom for running from the police. Okay, never heard of on the lam. Did you guys ever hear that? No you, Sam, no you. No, speak impairment. I do the same. Is a speak impairment. Yeah, I didn't hear what Brogan did. I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but Joe Brogan. I had to do speech therapy when I was younger because I couldn't say my R's and would say W's instead. I remember, yeah, my friend went through that, and I remember being confused. I was like, you can't say R's? Why? What happened? Why not? And then, like, I was just so, as like a second grader, I was like so confused because he was going to these like special classes, like after lunch. It was like instead of him having free time, he had to like practice his R's and stuff with some teacher, and I was just like, wait, why? I don't know, at the time, just being so ignorant to that. You thought Brogan was just me referring to Joe Rogan. Yeah, he was involved in this. Real big cover up for a while. Can't believe he got away with it. Who's translated R's as arse? My arsehole. He was an accomplice to the murders. I know, but like what did he do specifically? You know what I mean? Did he drag people out there? Like, did he hold them down? Like, where did they meet? You know, like, I just feel like we're missing some context. Oh yeah, that's true. Thank you, Fry. You guys have a chance at winning a PS5 bundle through joining the Chilling app. You actually see an advertisement for the Chilling app, which is a bunch of exclusive, like, basically it's an app that you can download with a bunch of scary stories and great narrators on there, a lot of talented people, but it's like very geared towards like people falling asleep to scary stories. The app, it's the Chilling app, and right now they're doing a giveaway. They do a lot of giveaways. Right now they're doing one for a PS5 bundle, so if you go on there and download the app, leave a review or something like that, and it like goes into specifics on how you can do that, but it's pretty sick. It's not just a bundle, it's a super bundle, meaning it's got Demon Souls or some shit. I can't believe I'm live. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, folks. Alright. What the hell was I talking about? Some sort of murder case? That's creepy. You get the Chilling app. Terry, what do you think about it? Honest opinion. Do you like it? Would you recommend it to Grandma and the family? I have the voice. Thank you. The only voice. Doing a shout out? Like doing a shout out for you to find a job with a tech company? Or just like a hello, how are you doing? You never seen my face? That's probably a good thing, honestly. Would I release merch? I do have a link for merch down below. It's Spreadshirt. You can. I don't do like one of the, like those merch sort of campaigns where they're like telling everybody, oh, it's sold out. Like it just do it through Spreadshirt. So like if someone wants it, Spreadshirt will produce it. You know, because they have the manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. I have the voice ever. Funky Town? What's that? Yeah. What am I made out of? I guess a lot of people think I sound like your maker. I don't really hear it, but everyone always sees that comment all the time. Are you your maker? Are you your maker? It's like, I don't think so. Maybe I like poker and crypto. If he agreed to testify, according to Brogan, Richard. Oh, I see. You're lucky your voice is no computerized. It's real. It's real. Are other people's voices computerized? Was there a story that ever made me cry or emotional? Definitely made me sick, different true crime ones. One movie that makes me cry all the time is fucking Saving Private Ryan. That movie is like the only movie ever that just like makes me bawl like a fucking little baby bitch. No joke. I love Saving Private Ryan. I sound like Joe from You. Yeah, people say that a lot. Which, thanks for insinuating that I'm a murderer. I'm just kidding. I never watched the show. My earlier stuff sounds a lot like your maker. Interesting. According to Brogan, Richard had been open about the fact that he was on the lam and needed this help to keep him from going back to prison. And the first thing he needed for that was a new identity. Richard began hanging around local Saving Ryan's privates, yeah. You want to thank my parents? I want to thank them too. Richard began hanging around local homeless shelters, hunting for someone who bore a close resemblance to him. But in the end, he decided that working remotely and anonymously would yield both effective and discreet results. And so, he turned to the internet. Richard presented himself as a wealthy, hands-off, but demanding employer who was offering the job of a lifetime. It was the perfect bait in a country that was still very much in the grasp of a grinding recession, and the way his Craigslist ad painted a picture of a cowboy-esque lifestyle led to him receiving literally hundreds of applications. One of the You can't believe I'm live. How come? I do it quite often. You're gonna watch Saving Private Ryan later. Yeah, let me know. It's a great one. The Notebook. Never watched it. One of these applications was from a man named Ralph Geiger, a 56-year-old man who had recently been down on his luck. He'd also grown up on a farm, which he believed made him ideal for the job. Beasley quizzed him on his size and his looks, but we now know that this wasn't so much for the purposes of recognizing him as a potential meeting. It was so Beasley could be sure they bore a resemblance so he could steal his identity. Brogan Rafferty would later claim that he had no idea what was coming, and was completely horrified when they drove Geiger out to the same spot in the woods where they would later take David Pauly and Scott Davis, only to shoot him in the back of the head. It was as if someone I immediately slipped in. I'm still confused. How the fuck did Brogan and this guy get hooked up? You know what I mean? Like, how? How did they meet? What was the motivation for Brogan to hang out with this weirdo? You know what I mean? And one time this dude wanted to watch The Notebook and I made them take me home. I've never watched it. Yeah, I never really had a motivation to watch. I mean, like, I've seen clips and stuff, but I don't. Actually, so there's this one song I like that uses, like, a sample from The Notebook. It's pretty powerful. Just go, leave this town, or some stupid shit like that. I don't know. It was as if I keep saying that. Spinal. Your sister wants the face reveal? Okay, in that case, I'll probably have to just casually make that happen. It was as if somehow I immediately slipped into a dream or something, Rafferty told the FBI, like I had ice in my veins. From then on, Rafferty claimed that he lived in an almost constant state of fear and panic, terrified that Beasley would hurt his family if he told anyone what had happened. FBI agents later found a poem saved to his computer's hard drive. Some of the lines read as follows. We took him out to the woods on a humid summer's night. The loud crack echoed and I didn't hear the thud. He threw the clothes in a garbage bag along with the personal items. I dug the hole. We put him in with difficulty. They call them stiffs for a reason. We showered him with lime like a satanic baptism. It was like we were excommunicating him from the world. Felt terrible until I threw up. When I got home, took a shower hotter than hell itself. When I got home, I took a hot shower, and I prayed that night. While Brogan was trying to process to the murder through poetry.
Hey, listen.
Inspicia, no worries. Yeah, I don't know how I would help you. You know what I mean? I don't really know. If anybody in the chat is looking for a tech person, it would just be like a long shot. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I have no idea what specifically you're looking for, what specifically someone else is looking for, and we don't really have a very large population pool to pull from. David De La Rosa with Junior with the 10 says, let's watch Die Hard. Perfect movie for the holiday. Yeah, I never actually really watched Die Hard, to be honest, but I do hear it's a Christmas movie. Thank you for the 10. But yeah, if anybody has any suggestions for Inspizia videos on, tech jobs or anything like that, any leads, I'm sure they would appreciate it. While Brogan was trying to process the murder through poetry, Richard Beasley was busy transforming himself into an entirely different person. He dyed his hair brown, then used Ralph Geiger's credentials to rent an apartment, order prescription pain meds, and apply for several machinist jobs. But work no longer suited Richard, and he believed that the murder had gone so smoothly that he could turn into a career. But work no longer suited Richard, and he believed that the murder had gone so smoothly that he could turn it into a career of sorts, preying on other men who'd fallen on hard times. So, he placed yet another ad up on CRAIGSLIST, one that would lead to Dave. I don't know what the fuck, what he had planned there. What's the point of killing, regular, wait, what, take his identity, just go from identity to identity, but stay in the same town? What the fuck? You thought this was recorded? It was not. But it will be, or it currently is, being recorded. You're all being recorded. Careful what you say. You like the holiday reading screen? Thank you. Yeah, that's from Robin. The good old boy. This is a story about Craigslist killers. This one is, yeah, the past two, this episode. Video about dreams. Have you ever asked for a cool dream stories? People have sent me some, but I don't know. I think they're kind of usually underwhelming. You know what I mean? It's cool to hear about dreams from somewhere. You're like, yeah, I was at this big mountain, and then I jumped off the mountain and did a backflip and landed on a dragon, but then there was a clown. The whole river was made of clown meat. And I know you're thinking, how is it clown meat? I just knew it was clown meat. I knew I couldn't fall off my dragon, but my dragon loves clown meat. So he landed in it, and I almost fell in the clown meat, and it was laughing the whole time instead of bubbling like a you would hear that story, you're like, this is fucking stupid. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Why would Let's Read do a fucking dream story? But no, I'm just kidding. There's some dreams in the paranormal stories that were kind of good, where they were almost like premonitions of sort, or some sort of entity had spoke to them through dreams. Just spooky stuff, you know? Spooky stuff. This is the spooky stuff. That's what I should have. Oh, wait.
Mischievous dog.
Mischievous Dog from Jeremy Crow has become a member of the Buttersock Cult. Welcome, Jeremy. Everybody say hello, Jeremy. You now have access to bonus content. So, he placed yet another job. Wait, did I miss something? Yeah. Fuck. Would I do a project with Wendigoon? I don't know who that is. So, he placed yet another job ad up on CRAIGSLIST, one that would lead to David Pauly filling up a U-Haul and driving his stuff up to rural Ohio. About the same time he was hitting the road, Richard and Brogan were digging the man's grave. God damn it. About the same time he was hitting the road, Richard and Brogan were digging the man's grave. Richard Beasley had firmly believed that no one would come looking for the divorced, lonely, middle-aged men whose lives he sought to steal. But not everyone was unloved and unwanted as he, and in the end, it was the love of a twin sister that brought down one of the most monstrous killers who ever stalked the Midwest. In November 2012, a jury convicted Brogan Rafferty of 24 criminal counts, including murder, robbery, and kidnapping. The judge told Rafferty that... What? Oh, wait, Rafferty got convicted first? Dude, I feel like we're missing a whole fucking, details on this Rafferty character, this kid. 24 criminal counts, including murder. Oh, okay. Robbery and kidnapping. Where was he involved? I totally missed that part. Wendigoon is the internet dad, Joel. You gotta check him out. Internet dad. Internet dad. Wendigoon. Oh, yeah, I've seen this guy's channel. Oh, wow, he's fucking popping off. That's dope. Oh, yeah, wait. Doesn't he, it's I remember hearing, some of his content was, too... it gets demonetized a lot by YouTube or something like that? I don't know. That's dope, though. Yeah, hit him up. Let him know. Let's work together. I don't know. I need to, collab more just to get my name out there, but people are busy, They get busy. They don't respond. They ain't got nothing to gain from it, you know what I mean? Damn. I'm fucking tired. Granted, I usually been going to bed around this time. These stories are taking forever, but I can't stay focused. In November 2012, a jury convicted Brogan Rafferty of 24 criminal counts, including murder, robbery, and kidnapping. The judge told Rafferty that he had been dealt a lousy hand in life, but that he had embraced the evil, and sentenced him to life without parole. The following year, Richard Beasley was also convicted of murder and was sentenced to death. Throughout his trial, he maintained that he was innocent, but for a man who was willing to kill, over and over to maintain his freedom, what are just a few more lies on top of a bill? God damn it. What are just a few more lies on top of a bill for murder? Rafferty's locked away for life. There will be no... Yeah. Well, I don't understand. How did he... what the fuck? You know what I mean? What the fuck? How? It's over now. It was a 7-page fucking story, though. Took a lot of fucking... Sheesh. Oh my god. I'm really fucking confused. 8 years later, yeah, that took a while. Oh, balls. I used to use CRAIGSLIST a whole bunch, and I only ever had one weird or creepy thing happen to me. To this day, I still don't know if it was real or just some elaborate prank, but it definitely left me with a feeling of unease for a few weeks after. So I grew up here in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, and my parents were fresh off the boat from Kazakhstan. I'll give you a minute to make the Borat joke I know you're dying to make, but once it's out of your system, understand that as Kazakhs grow up and... Is that what they're called? Kazakhs? Kazakh! Kazakh. 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 Okay, cool. How was it a Craigslist? Well, he put a Craigslist ad to recruit people to his farm to kill them and steal their identities, which made no fucking sense, because wouldn't you just need like one identity to steal and move on? But then, like, I guess he said he was making a career out of it, but I don't know why. Like, whoa, like what? I don't know. I just feel like we missed a lot. Like, even for, it was like a 7-page fucking like true crime thing, but like it didn't really elaborate on the involvement of Brogan, and you know what I mean. And it didn't involve, or it didn't elaborate on why he needed to like kill people, or that many people, for identity theft. Schick, what's up, homie G? Where did Fry go? Fry! Fry! Oh, fucking shit. You're eating your lunch. What are you eating? Is it butthole? Some school horror stories? Definitely got a lot of those on the channel. I got a burp. How am I going to be on tonight? I imagine like another hour. But once that... Fuck. Peanut butter Sam jam. Nice. Dude, I love peanut butter sandwiches. Fucking... Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. Wait. Peanut butter jelly. 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 Clown meat sandwich, yeah. But once it's out of your system, understand that as Kazakhs, fucking penis. But once it's out of your system, understand that as Kazakhs growing up in Brighton Beach, I grew up hearing a wide variety of Slavic and Central Asian languages. I knew Kazakh from mom and dad. I learned a lot of Russian due to our neighbors. Heck, we even had a Uzbek landlord who lived on the ground floor, and my dad worked with a guy from Turkmenistan who used to sing me old Turkmen nursery rhymes. Needless to say, when it came to being a broke college student at NYU, and I heard people would pay for translation services on Craigslist, I was desperate enough to post an ad. I was surprised how many people needed translation work done, but it was mostly inquiries which stemmed from the Russian to English and... Drop a mixtape. What about a mix VHS? We're gonna change it up. Everybody's always using tapes. We're gonna incorporate video. I was surprised how many people needed translation work done, but it was mostly inquiries stemmed from the Russian to English ad I posted in Russian, and only a handful of emails or calls came from people wanting the reverse. Then, one day I get an email from a random email address asking if I could translate some Russian into English. I replied saying sure, and they ended up emailing me 2 paragraphs of what looked like handwritten letters. I say they were letters, but they didn't have any names or addresses attached to them. Maybe there was an address and the guy just didn't show me the envelope or whatever, but either way, I noticed something was wrong almost right away. First of all, the paper was filthy. I could barely make out the lettering, but the sender assured me that he'd pay for whatever I could translate. Secondly, although the letters or notes were written in Cyrillic... What's Cyrillic? Oh. Weird. Writing system used for various languages across Eurasia. I see, I see. Cyrillic. Of a relating or constituting an alphabet used for writing Old Church Slavic and Russian and a number of other languages of Eastern Europe and Asia. Isn't it weird that Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan end in stan? Yeah, I don't really remember why that is. Let's look it up. Why do countries end in stan? Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Who put the bump on the bump, bump, bump? Who put the stan in Afghanistan? I don't know about the former, but we can thank the Proto-Indo-Europeans for the latter. These folks spoke the Proto-Indo-European language PIE, Pi, a prehistoric Eurasian language that linguists have reconstructed. The Pi root, st or stand, found its way into many words in the language's various descendants. The Russian stan means settlement, and other Slavic languages use it to mean apartment or state. In English, the root was borrowed to make stand, state, stay, and other words. The ancient Indo-Iranian peoples, descendants of Proto-Indo-Europeans who moved east and south from the Eurasian steppe, used it to mean place or place of. It's this meaning that's used for names of the modern Stan countries, which got it through linguistic descent. Urdu or Pashto, the respective official languages of Pakistan and Afghanistan, both descend from the Indo-Iranian language, or by adopting it, the former Soviet Stan countries have historically been most ethnically Turkic and speak languages from the Turkic family. Okay. So yeah, Afghan is the land of the Afghans, Kazakhstan is the land of the Kazakhs, Kyrgyzstan is the land of the Kyrgyz, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Pakistan, Tajikistan, land of the Tajiks, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan. Okay. Neat. Did not know that. But I still don't really know what I just found out. XXIOM with a 5. Thank you, friend. Friendo. Throw it back to Reddit.
Hey, listen.
Throw it back. Throw it back. In dire need of me to shake it like a salt shaker. Shake it like a shake weight. Shake it like a shake weight. Secondly, although the letters or notes were written in Cyrillic characters, it most definitely wasn't Russian. I told the person it'd take me a few days to get the translation done, making up some lie about being busy with college, but really, I was asking around my neighbors to see if any of them recognized the language. Eventually, a neighbor of mine recognized the language as... XXHIOM, thank you. Thank you. Can I say sussy baka? Eventually, a neighbor of mine recognized that the language was Serbian. They didn't speak any Serbian, but they knew enough to recognize it, and more importantly, they knew someone could translate it. I printed out 2 black and white copies of the photos. The lettering was more pronounced that way, then headed over to this old Serbian guy's apartment on Neptune Avenue. The guy was super friendly at first, inviting me in and offering me tea. I accepted, offering him a little box of bundevara, which are Serbian pastry. Bundevara. Let me look that up real quick. You speak fuck fluently. Pants on the ground, pants on the ground. Remember when Brett Favre did that? That shit was funny. The guy was super friendly at first, inviting me in and offering me tea. I accepted, offering him a little box of bundavara, which are Serbian pastries, in return, mainly as a thank you for doing the translation for me. We sit down, he puts on his glasses, I hand him the printouts, and he begins to study them. He stops at one point to point out the obvious. Very difficult to read. But as he continues, his happy little expression fades and he begins to look very, very serious. I'm just sitting there, notebook and pen in hand, ready to jot down what the notes say, but the Serbian guy isn't saying anything. I have to actually press him for even just an idea of what the notes said, and at that point, he just looks up at me and says, "I don't know. I think it's something about the war." I assumed the war he was referring to were the series of conflicts in the former Yugoslavia. These were particularly cruel conflicts that often had an ethnic or religious slant to them, so as soon as he said that, I got a particularly bad feeling in my gut. When the guy had finally stopped reading, he looked at me from over his glasses and asked, "Where did you get this?" I was honest, and I told him I'd been sent it as part of a small translation business I ran through CRAIGSLIST. But who sent this? I had to tell him I didn't know. The email address was just a Hotmail account, some non-English word, and some numbers for a username, and it wasn't like I pressed my clients for any personal information, and I was interested in their... And it wasn't like I pressed my clients for any personal information. All I was interested in was their PayPal ID. The guy began shaking his head. "I don't like this," he said. "This is very bad. Very bad people sent you this, do you understand?" At that point, I was so desperate to know what the note said that I was just about ready to strangle him, and in the politest way possible, I asked him to cut the nonsense and tell me what he'd read. I wrote all this down, and it's fragmented, and the translation might not be the best, but here it goes. In a large house found near Bostahovin, all the phone lines have been cut. No other means of communication. Don't believe the commander if he says we're doing fine. We finished off everyone in Fajr. But everything since then, the situation has been worse and worse. It started after we marched up into the hills near Brakovici. Brakovici? Come on, bruh. Uno momento. Brakovici? Nay Davo with the 3 Aussie bucks says, "You, Joel, sexiest voice. Hey from Australia. Hello, hello. How's it going in the land down under? I hear you guys are having summer down there. Lucky dogs." It started after we marched into the hills near Brakovici. During the march, totally disappeared. We sent out a small patrol, but they, too, stopped answering their radios, and we haven't heard from them since. Dragan thinks, afraid, but no one shows it. Found salvation when we came across the house. There were Turks inside, and we took them outside. We had to cut off the girl's head to shut her up. The other bodies were still moving when we carried them away and tossed them. So many bullets, more didn't help. We buried them deep, but in the morning the pit had been dug up. They were gone. The Turk fighters here are different. Kolha. The Turk fighters here are different. Kolha. They only come at night. It's like they can see in the dark. You must ask command to send everyone they can, Kolha, or I'm afraid we won't live to see the dawn. I remember the chill that ran through the air when the guy stopped talking, and I suddenly understood why he was so agitated after reading through the notes. I thought he might be able to provide some insight into what he thought was happening to the author, but apart from a brief primer of the Yugoslav civil wars, he couldn't say much. What he did say was that the Turks the author was referring to were most likely probably Bosnian Muslims, as the Serb paramilitaries used Turk as a pejorative for them. But without any information on dates and units, it was almost impossible to discern who wrote the note, and when it was written. However, it's quite clear that it was written to a person named Kolya. Probably Kolya. However, it's quite clear that it was written to a person named Kolya or Kolha. Maybe a relative of the author, or this Kolya person was looking for them years after the war. Maybe they weren't holding out hope of finding a live person either, and maybe one of them had crossed the Atlantic at some point since the early 90s, hence why it was me that got an email stemming from my CRAIGSLIST ad. These were all things that were running through my head at the time, and for the most part, the Serbian guy agreed. But he did have something to add before I left. Many bad things happened during the war, he said.
Listen.
And this too is very bad, but it's also, how you say, proklet. He used a Serbian word, but alright, let me look up how to say that. Crest of Flames 90 with the 5 says 2 years of listening, and all I can say is that you are the best. Have some money. Thanks, Crest. Thank you. I appreciate that. Kind words in my ears. I like to hear them. I like to hear them. Joel's voice putting him to sleep. Yeah, right. I just talk to myself in bed at night to go out. XXHIOM with the 2 says, good night, bro. Stay safe, everyone. See y'all for tomorrow vid. See you then. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same place. Same time. Same place. Same place time. Same space time. Or is it? Ugh. Okay. Freestyle? Cursed with the worst. Papa Smurf. Grab a purse. On the run. Grab a gun. Have some fun. This is ASMR Burp Edition. You know we bad about the Commits Edition. This is Let's Read Hot Edition. Wait, didn't I say that? I don't give a rat's ass, 'cause I got the brass. Tax. These are facts. I'm so popular, I'm about to be put in a wax museum. You know I see them. Fuck, I forget the movie. Damn it. I was gonna say, what the fuck's that movie called? Oh yeah, you know I'm taking, like Liam Neeson. Alright, anyways, I'm not very good at freestyling. But you can imagine if I was. I feel like I would be like creatively inclined. Okay, proklet. Proklet. Broccoli. Young Boy collab. Who's Young Boy? Scary trucking videos. I actually think I do have a trucking video on the channel if you look through them or do the search thing. Many bad things happened during the war, he said. And this too is very bad, but it's also, how you say, proklet. He used a Serbian word, but it was one with its roots in the Russian word of the same meaning, so it didn't need any translating. Cursed. I'm not gonna lie. I was definitely freaked out by whatever vague story the notes told, but I just thought it was some small piece, a clue even in some wider, more tragic tale. I just went home, sent the original emailer their translation, got paid, and went about my business. It wasn't until much later on that I started to really mull over what the note said, and there was this one week where I basically obsessed over it, trying to interpret meaning, filling in the gaps, and even Googling a couple of the places' names. But I think it's that line that reads, "Bodies were still moving," that sticks with me the most. They talked about decapitating someone, and the body was still moving? I'm not saying anything supernatural was happening. I imagine a headless person is a lot like a headless chicken. But then I start to consider the part where it said, it's like they can see in the dark, and my imagination really starts to run away with me. For quite a while there, I'd have done almost anything to know what happened to the person whose notes. For quite a while, I'd have done almost anything to know what happened to the person who wrote those notes. But I think I'd be better off not knowing. Oh my God, Lord, Lord, Lord. Fucking standing my ass at this desk all day, slaving away in front of this computer. And my back hurts. Let me do a bend over. I'm gonna bend over. Have you guys seen my friend bend over? Oh, shit. Let me just sit down for a brief reprieve. I don't know why, it's like, really needed to crack my back. Oh my God, anybody play Roblox? My friends played it, and it's kind of crazy. There's like so many fucking mods for it and stuff. It's like a whole nother game. But I heard their like development is kind of like takes advantage of like young fucking like game developers and shit, you know what I mean? Because they like sort of make it so it makes it seem like you can make money off of like developing mods for it, but then you end up like having to pay to promote your mod and all of these other like scam type things, you know what I mean? And I don't know. It just, I hear it's like pretty kind of like shitty. Oh no, I don't play Roblox. No, thank you. Don't tell me your username. I have no interest in playing Roblox, but I've seen it played. But I've seen more of the mod stuff than like the actual. I don't even know what the actual game is at all. Wasn't there a French saint who was beheaded and kept walking in his resting spot? No, I never. I guess I wouldn't be surprised, you know, like certain things continue to work briefly and probably creep them out. Alright, so this is story 4 of 5. There are two main components to the story. One, I used to make money on the side by selling the loot from storage units to auction. One, I used to make money on the side by selling the loot from storage unit auctions on CRAIGSLIST. 2, my brother spent some time in prison for almost killing a guy in a car accident while he was under the influence. Part 1 of the story takes place while my brother was in prison, and Part 2 is the weekend of his release about 6 or 7 months later. Part 1. I bought the keys to this one storage unit that had a whole bunch of cool stuff in it. We're talking a big flat-screen LED TV, back when those were still brand new, a laptop computer, and 3 vintage motorcycles. As you can imagine, I was pretty much over the moon, and after I posted the CRAIGSLIST ads and the replies started pouring in, I knew I was on track to make a ton of money. The only problem was, I didn't really have any place to keep the bike, so, much to my wife's chagrin... Wait, chagrin? Or anger? Can I do a video on former junkies? Well, kind of. I mean, I did that one homeless video recently, and there was some people that struggled with addiction in that. So I feel like I can't really outright say in a video that like this is about, former addicts or anything like that. But there are people that submit stories that have struggled with that in the past, and they're kind of like part of a grander theme, you know what I mean? Lila, how are you? You're just in time for 420 viewers. Alright, the only trouble was I didn't really have any place to keep the bikes. So, much to my wife's anger, I kept one in the garage, one in the TV room, and the smaller dirt bike in the hallway of our house. The only thing that kept her off my back was the promise that they'd fetch us a lot of cash, and in the advertisement I posted on CRAIGSLIST, I promised to knock 20% off the total asking price if someone bought all the bikes together, even more if the offer came fast enough. And what do you know? It seemed to work. I got a call a few days later from a guy who was offering cash for all 3 bikes. He could also bring his own bike trailer. He could also bring his own bike trailer over to transport them away, which really was the answer to my prayers. So, the guy arranges a trailer, then calls me again one evening to confirm my address. I pass on my details, and he says he'll be stopping by in the morning. But during the call, every so often I had to stop giving the address so I could shush my 2-year-old who was apparently still discovering just how loud they could yell. So more than once I had to apologize and start over. The guy looking to buy the bikes seemed like a little annoyed. Like the kind of annoyed when you know someone doesn't have kids of their own. But he still said he'd be over in the morning to pick them up. The next morning comes, I've got the bike all ready to go, but 10 a.m. comes and goes and there's no sign of the buyer. 10:30 a.m. rolls around and there's still no show, so I try giving the guy a call, only to find the phone had been disconnected. He wasn't just ducking me. He didn't try to make an excuse. The phone was just straight up dead. Don't get me wrong, my little Craigslist deals went sideways all the time. People tried to haggle you down at the last minute or simply change their minds, so it wasn't like it was anything out of the ordinary. But a totally disconnected phone line. Very weird, and you can understand why that particular cancel stuck in my mind. Part 2. Like I mentioned previously, about 6 months after this little incident, my brother gets out of prison. As you can probably guess, it was a real intense time for our whole family, especially since he asked to move into my place until we could find a place to stay long term. I told him if he touched a drop of alcohol, he was out on his butt, but other than that, he could stay as long as he wanted. But about 2 weeks into his stay, he was having a beer out on the porch after the kids had gone to bed when my brother came up, or I was having a... Oh, fucking boner, dude. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, about 2 weeks into his stay, I was having a beer. Okay. About 2 weeks into his stay, I was having a beer out on the porch after the kids had gone to bed. When my brother came out to join me... Oh, I see, my bad. It's Tetris. A Tetris song. About 2 weeks into his stay, I was having a beer out on the porch after the kids had gone to bed when my brother came out to join me. I was a little apprehensive, thinking he might just be trying to get my guard down so he could ask for a beer or something. But I was just being paranoid, and we had a little heart-to-heart that night, me drinking Paps and him drinking Faygo. We talked about stuff he'd missed, how Mom and Dad really felt about his conviction, But most relevant to this story, we talked about his time in prison. It was a long, meandering conversation that honestly is a little hazy on my part thanks to the beers, but I remember mentioning something about how I felt bad for him, being locked up with all those scumbags. My brother's a jerk, but he's not a bad person. He was torn up after the accident, almost took his own life, and he took his jail time on the chin because he knew he deserved it. I just hated the idea of him being locked up with actual evil people, people that might hurt him, manipulate him, or coach him into being an actual criminal and not just some idiot who liked to drink too much. His reply kind of caught me off guard for a second because instead of telling me some story about talking to murderers or bank robbers, he says something like, "There's actually some pretty good guys in there. You'd be surprised." I guess maybe I would. I mean, my brother ended up inside. All he made was one dumb but dangerous mistake. But still, I just guffawed and told him to give me one credible example. Then, I swear to God, he starts telling me this story about this biker guy he'd shared a cell with for a few months. He wasn't just any old biker dude either. He was president of the local chapter of quite a well-known one-percenter club. Not the kind of guy you want to mess around with, but apparently also a man with a code. He once told my brother a story about how one of his associates found a guy selling a bunch of motorcycles. He planned to get the guy's address, roll up in the middle of the night, kill the guy selling them, then steal the bikes. The only reason they called the job off was because the associate had heard kids on the other end when he was talking to the seller on the phone. It took a minute. Oh shit. Salud. Salud. It's fun at the arcades with big-ass machines. Think you'll have better luck there. You going to an arcade? Who's going to an arcade? Do they have those still? My friends and I always joked about, like, me getting the old, like, paying money to get the old fucking, that huge arcade game. It's like a light shooter, but it's like you're under the ocean hunting, like, giant, you know, ancient creatures like Megalodon and the Kraken and stuff, if you guys remember that. They had it at Walmart when we were growing up and stuff, and I always thought it'd be sweet to, like, have it. And they were selling it online somewhere, like eBay or something, but I was just imagining, like, it just, like, takes up, like, half of the room, you know, and it's just always running. It's, like, really hot in the room and, like, super fucking, just, like, my power constantly goes out, or it, like, knocks the power out for the whole street because it just, like, short circuits. I don't know. It's just a funny situation. All because I had to relive my fucking childhood. You have a pinball and pierogies place in town? That sounds yummy. I used to not really like pierogies growing up. I don't know, I found the concept just, like, gross. But then I had somebody else's pierogies. Did you ever get that way where you're like, there's a particular food you don't really like growing up, but then, like, you try it at a friend's house and it's like fire? You're like, God damn, shit's good, mama. How come it's not like this in my house? You order a crab and get a kraken. You never know. You supposed to boil pierogies? I don't know how they cook them. I think you just fry them. Or you can bake them. I mean, you could do anything. They're pretty much just fucking dumplings. Did you ever think about that? I just don't even like the name of pierogi. It's such a weird name. Pierogi. I think it's just a dumpling, but it's filled with, like, mashed potatoes and shit. Honestly, I would make, like, a pierogi that's like a shepherd's pie. That sounds like way better. Eat them raw. Fucking raw! The only reason I called the job off. Okay. The only reason they called the job off was because the associate had heard kids on the other end when he was talking to the seller on the phone. It took a minute for the penny to drop, but I remember interrupting my brother to ask where they'd seen the bikes advertised, and when he said online, I swear my heart rate went into overdrive for a second. I threw out a flurry of questions, asking him what website, what models the bikes were, where their prospective victims could have been located. My brother didn't have any answers to these questions, just a few vague answers before it hit me. Different kinds of pierogies? Yeah, what kind do they make? Different variants? Uh-oh. The new Omicron pierogi. My brother didn't have any answers to these questions, just a few vague answers before he hit me with a question of his own. I just straight up told him I thought the biker's mark was me, and I told him all about the bikes I'd won in the unit auction, how the buyers seemed to just drop off the face of the earth. To this day, I'm convinced it was me, and the only thing that kept me and my family safe were the wails of my toddler. My brother doesn't seem to think that was the case and insisted that the bikers only targeted other bikers, kind of like the way the mafia only kill and rob other mafia guys. But I'm not so sure. Like I said, even these days I have this feeling my... Yeah, if they'd be pierogies, Omicron pierogies, but they would be Omicron, because they're delicious. Because they're just delicious. Don't I read stuff for a living? Shut up. Eat a big pile of Omicron pierogi shit. To this day, I'm still convinced. Okay. To this day, I'm convinced it was me, and that the only thing that kept me and my family safe were the wails of my toddler. My brother doesn't seem to think that was the case and insisted that the bikers only targeted other bikers, kind of like the way the mafia only kill and rob other mafia guys. But I'm not so sure. Like I said, even these days I have this feeling in my gut that screams, you dodged a bullet. I was always told that having kids would change my life. They just didn't tell me that it'd save my life at some point too. Omicron is a ghetto transformer. That's hilarious. Omicron. The unicorn variant. Alright, we got one more of these spooky stories. Who's ready for the last story of the night? Who's got a bucket? My brother. I miss him every day. We know how he died because he passed away in our parents' spare room. There's just a big gap between him deciding to backpack around Mexico and the state he was in when he finally returned. So he saw an advertisement on CRAIGSLIST for a job on a ranch down in Mexico, and since he was taking a year out before college, he figured it'd be the perfect way to expand his mind a little before heading off to lose it and... what the fuck? Shepherd's pie pierogies, you'd make those? That sounds yummy. Oh yeah. So he saw an advertisement on Craigslist for a job on a ranch down in Mexico, and since he was taking a year out before college, He figured it'd be the perfect way to expand his mind a little before heading off to lose himself in books. Anyway, I think it was June. He packed up his stuff and headed off to the bus station where a bus would take him down to El Paso. My mom and dad get a phone call a few days later just letting them know he'd arrived safely on the ranch. There were a bunch of other Americans there apparently, hence why the ad mentioning something about fluency in Spanish not necessary, and he was settling in nicely after getting a general orientation. He then promises to call back every week or so, just to keep our parents updated on what's going on, if he need anything mailed to him, stuff like that. Then one week, Michelle McWeather with a 10 says, "Hey baby bro, sorry I'm late, but enjoying your stories with spiked coffee." Oh shit. With a little Baileys. A little delicious Baileys. Thank you for the 10, Michelle. Thank you, thank you.
Listen.
I don't know, I heard some good things about, well, actually I won't even talk about it. It's not even fucking worth it. Hint of cider. What is happening? What's poppin'? What's the good news? French onions on top of shepherd's pie as it went. Damn, that does sound pretty fucking good. I'm old Greg. Alright, what the fuck am I? Oh yeah, he promised. There were a bunch of other Americans there apparently, hence why the ad mentioning something about fluency in Spanish not necessary, and he was settling in nicely after getting a general orientation. He then promises to call back every week or so just to keep our parents updated on what's going on, if he needed anything mailed to him and stuff like that. Then one week, the phone call stopped. Mom and Dad tried calling the ranch he was working at only to be told my brother had moved on. They'd exhausted trying to call his little prepaid cell phone. It used to just ring out, but one day it was disconnected, so there was basically no reaching him. Not long after, Mom and Dad reported him missing, and this grim realization set in that we might not ever see him ever again. About 4 or 5 months after he'd first departed for Mexico, and with the police still having no idea where he was, Mom and Dad got a knock on their door. Dad says he was terrified to be the cops with the news that they'd all been terrified of getting. But he says he was so happy that he burst into tears when he saw that the person at the door was none other than my brother. Only he wasn't like how he remembered. He'd gone out there looking healthy and feeling happy, and he came back skeletal, with a crippling addiction to opiates. We never really got to the bottom of how he'd gotten hooked. He only talked about his time in Mexico once, and it was super vague and nondescript. Mom and Dad got him on a methadone program, hoping it would help him get clean, but it turned out to be the thing that killed him. Swallowed too much of the stuff one night and just never woke up. I try not to wonder about him too much, like I'm not really sure I want to know what changed him so much, what he saw or did to cause such a drastic transformation. I just try to remember him at his best. How the best big brother ever went down to Mexico for a summer, but how someone completely different came back. Am I almost done reading? I am, yeah. That was actually the last story of the evening, but we did stream for almost 4 hours here. 3.5 hours. Do I take word requests? Like, what do you mean? Like, just request me to say random words? Huh. Ugh. right, let me read this outro. You guys gotta think of something funny for me to say at the end. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your voice featured on, or not your voice, Jesus Christ, what the hell? And maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about all the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. Althea with the 10 says, great as always, Papa Joel. Thank you, Althea. I'll have to listen to that song. Who does the song? Or did you tagged me, you said, or I forget. Say bing bong. Thanks so much, friends, and I'll see you bing bong. Dragons love clown meat. I probably will say that. Do the bing bong bing from Borat. When did he do that in Borat? Bing bong bing bong. I don't remember that at all. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, dragons love clown meat. Clown meat. Oh yeah, clowns taste funny. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh my god, that's a good one. I feel like that's like how moms, like whenever you're like a little kid and you say a joke like, hey mom, did you know that clowns, or fuck, did you know that clown meat tastes funny? She's like, oh, that's so funny, sweetie. Now shut up. Now shut your mouth. Your dad loves cheeseburgers. Well, guys, thank you again for an awesome stream. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being just here. Thanks for just being there. Thanks for just being present. Joel, why did you put a fart in the outro of one of the podcasts? Well, I don't know if you knew this or not, but farts are actually the pinnacle of humor. Anything that is said previous to a fart is completely negated by that stinky sound that is generated by the flapping butt cheeks of gas leaving your body. So, you know, it just kind of assuages everything. If you ever have an argument with somebody, just fart. Literally just look at them in the eye and just fart, or make a fart noise. Should fix pretty much any issue. Yeah, okay, Socrates. That's what Socrates said. A fart is the pinnacle of haha. But guys, yeah, thank you so much. As always, like I said, this will be out first on Patreon for $1 a month. You can also get bonus content here as a member by clicking the join button. You can also get that bonus content over on Patreon if you're a $5 tier supporter over there as well, along with early access for $1. Well, not like additional, but they all stack, you know, which is cool. But otherwise, yeah, new video Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This one will be out tomorrow, 7 p.m. Follow me on social media, Let's Read Official on Instagram, at Let's Read Creepy on Twitter. Twitter is the best one to kind of just like be kept up to date with just all the nonsensical bullshit I say on there, along with just like every ounce of content you could possibly want. You know, it's just easier to put on Twitter. Glassy Horror with the 2 C's. You burp in the next one. I will take that into consideration. I'll talk to the board of directors. It's a very tough decision, you know, and I really need people's input before I make sweeping changes such as that. But Cuddle Monster, thanks. Sweet dreams are made of peas. Sweet dreams have made me pee. Let's read on my Spotify Wrapped. Yeah, a lot of people. I was on a lot of people's, which was sweet. It was awesome. There was somebody, I forget who it was, but they had like initially I got like tagged in one. I was like, oh, here it comes. Everybody doing this thing. And like theirs was like 23,000 minutes. I was like, damn, that's a lot. But then like the literal most I got was someone was like 116,000 minutes. I think that's how much it was. And I did like the math, and it turned out to like averaging like 4 hours a day, 365, you know, but they said that they just like had it on when they slept and studied and stuff all the time. So I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, until next stream, you know, I might be back Thursday, otherwise hopefully Sunday. But yeah, new content as always will come out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Starting up on TikTok now. That's exciting. Gonna get more stuff on there, so follow me over on TikTok if you haven't already. I don't know, maybe it will take off. I mean, it would be dope. It seems like, you know, remember like didn't miss sorry, there's a lot of like channels that like popped off on TikTok and then got success later on. So like Mr. Balin, I think, you know, Mr. Balin, he had like TikTok fame, and then yeah, I'll be doing dances. I'll be doing TikTok dances. Stupid fucking song. I hate that shit. But yeah. I don't know. Am I forgetting anything? I don't know. I love you? Did I say I love you yet? Did I say that? Did I say that? Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I got animations on there, and then soon there'll be like speed drawings with like stories and stuff, and like, I don't know. It's just a huge social media site that if you're not on there, you know, you're just missing out on that reach to let people know that you exist. You know, you gotta. I mean, you ever think about that? Like, there's a lot of like, do you ever like see channels and you're like, why the fuck are they popular? You know, or like, why do people give a shit about this celebrity or this, you know, fucking person when they're just a stinker, you know? But then you're like, oh, it's because it's just statistics, you know? How many eyes can you get? Can you maximize the number of eyeballs on your content to increase your reach? You know what I mean? And a lot of people, I think there's like times, you know, there's times in the narration community where people talk shit. Not that often. I mean, just you hear about it where like, oh, that guy sucks. Like, why am I not where he is or something like that? But really what it ends up coming down to is not even necessarily like equating your skill to like your success on the platform. Sometimes it's just like algorithmic, you know, just maximizing the number of eyeballs that land on you or the number of earballs that land on you. Anyways, enough bullshit. I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you so much for the support and love and just being good people, a good community. I'm really happy to, you know, have a good community to rally around these streams and stuff like that and the videos. I'm glad that they help you guys so much. But have a safe and beautiful evening. It's not even midnight. Normally I don't even start till midnight, but I'm happy about my normal sleep schedule here. And I'll keep you posted. And I'll see you again oh so soon. Bye-bye.